And yeah, first I will give an opening statement of sorts of like 20 minutes as we agreed in the email.
Oh yeah, should we just should we clarify what that arrangement is going to be then? So it's 20 minutes from
Yeah.
you, and then that will be followed by an interview with Athene for as long as we need. Is
Yeah,
that right?
unless of course you also still want to respond to me or have questions for me before you want to transition to that.
Okay.
All right,
That
cool.
sounds cool.
Since I want to make sure, since 20 minutes is not that long, and I want to make sure I get everything in during these 20 minutes, I will have you muted, so you don't have to worry about sound coming through or anything.
Okay.
And then after that, of course, you will have chance to respond and anything you'd like.
Yep, that's fine.
All right, cool. Okay, so let me see here. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So. Okay, guys, I wanted to do an opening statement. I actually asked the Athene for me to do the opening statement because, as you guys are aware, and as you know, some of the stuff that has gone around that originated from the email to that has caused quite a fuss, along with the fact that Chris has been reaching out to family members, friends, people who have been here seemingly very selectively for, I think, almost 2 years now. Like, I felt very responsible and I felt like I had to make a statement. Why? Because, like, why me? Why not Athene? Why did I insist? Because for all intents and purposes, it's me that is running the show. It's my company, it's my organization, it's my building, etc., etc., etc. So if these allegations about Athene are true, then it's a conspiracy. Like it's at least it's both Athene and me pulling the strings. It is much more than Athene being some sort of nefarious cult leader. It is actually a conspiracy where I am aware of all of it and co-conspiring to do these things. So okay, I want to make that very clear because when I see stuff like this happen, it is very disturbing and upsetting to me. And it is something that keeps me up at night. It is something that is very stressful. Because when you look at the things that were emailed to, in this case, the citations from the email to, when he says, I don't want more young and impressionable people to end up moving to his compound, having their lives ruined. And I am hoping you feel the same. And I really need your help to tell this story and make sure nobody else gets hurt. I am of the opinion that not only is that very, very upsetting to be aware that your family might be getting those kinds of statements, but it is also not cool. It is not ethical. It is not proper professional journalism. Just to be really clear here for people who might not be aware, and I'm sorry to have to, you know, go in aggressively like this, but it is just a fact of how journalism, proper professional journalism works. People nowadays like to, rightfully so, often critique mainstream outlets, right? Like CNN and stuff, and that's true. I mean, that's justified because they're often biased. They often fuck up. It's it's a mess, right? But if a CNN reporter would email an ex-cabinet member of Trump and say, "Please help me stop Trump from hurting people and such," he'd get fired. Okay, that is not journalism. That is an agenda. That is being on a crusade. That is not allowed. As a journalist, of course, if you're independent journalism, you do whatever you want, but certain things you may get called out for, and that's what I'm doing right now because I feel like it is necessary in this case, and I actually feel very conflicted about this because, to be honest, I knew Chris's channel from before People Make Games. Chris has always seemed like a nice guy to me. His channel, I love it. It's a great channel. I like the stuff he makes. But the stuff that happened here is so goddamn upsetting. I have had to reach out to family because family of mine reached out to me saying like, hey, I don't respond to stuff like this, but this is the mail I got. So I reached out to several family members of mine to make sure that they're aware that if they get an email saying, we're ruining lives, what do you think about that? That they know this is not true. Because you have to understand, just put yourselves in my shoes. I want you guys to understand where the frustration comes from, because it is not just me frustrated that a journalist is digging around or something. I don't mind. I actually really, really, really welcome serious journalism into what we're doing. Really, truly, I'd be happy. And I've always been happy. When it's in the past been with Kotaku or CNN or whoever, I'm happy with that shit. Because I count on the truth coming out. But this does not feel like the truth will come out. This feels, and it's not just that it feels that way, it is that way, as you guys can read in the email. You guys can read the whole email yourself. This is someone contacting people. In some cases, family members, even after the person asked to stop doing it, like Athene's brother also got contacted, right? He said like, well, you know, my dad just died. I don't want to talk right now. I will reach back out if I feel comfortable. And then Chris still reached out after. Like, and the way he presents himself is, I am a journalist. This group is ruining lives. This group is doing this kind of damage. What do you think? Like, that is you're setting a premise. You're imposing a narrative. And certainly for most people who look at you, who look at your track record, because he links his LinkedIn, his channel, all these things, you think like, wow, this is a reputable journalist. If he says they're ruining lives, my God, he has uncovered something. I don't know what's going on. This is shocking. That's what happens. That, like, he is convincing people of a certain story and then asking their comment on it. And as I said before, if a journalist for CNN or CNBC or maybe, you know what, maybe even Breitbart or something does this, he gets fired. It's not done. It's not cool. It is not, it is, and it has costed me so many sleepless nights, because I know we live in a culture nowadays where this can get us banned. Why? Because it's happened before. Not with a journalist, but with people who have organized themselves to sabotage us. Like, there is, as some of you guys are aware, a small group of people who are actively, every day, plotting and having a fun little time saying, what can we do? What can we take out of context? How can we make them look crazy? How can we sabotage what they are doing? It's their hobby. And even there, over the past few years, I think it's almost 2 years, Chris has also been cited in their Discord. Surely he will say, yeah, he's doing research and such, but what's partially also baffling about this story is he's not reached out to me. He's not reached out to any of us for the past 2 years. He's only been going after the places and the people that seem like they may be juicy. And you know what? I understand investigative journalism. You go first where the smoke is to see if there's fire. That's normal. But putting it all together, seeing the quotes that were sent to, seeing how he has conducted himself in all the ways that I just said, it gives me, to be really honest, extreme anxiety. Because we work our asses off every day just to do good. We work here in a way that is, I know people like to meme and we go along with the meme that it's a cult and it's crazy, and certainly with the click and shit, we have done stuff and said stuff that certainly when you clip it out, looks a bit like, whoa, what's going on there and shit, but things here are actually pretty damn normal. And if you run any of these quotes by the more than 300 people that have been here, most of them will say, what? I mean, in this email, he mentions that Athene will take people's cryptocurrency, any cryptocurrency they own, if they choose to leave. How would he do that? And when does he do it? Like, you ask people, they will say, but how can he do that? That's the whole point of cryptocurrency. You can't just take my cryptocurrency. Does purpose get forked every time someone leaves? That then purpose would crumble immediately, completely. It would be worthless within no time. It's And the problem is, we literally, was it last year? I think it was last year. We literally got banned from Twitch for these kinds of things. And every time in the past that we've had a reporter look into stuff, whether it's from Kotaku or CNN or whatever, we didn't have any fear. They were always like, even the ones that knew about these trolls and these people that are spreading misinformation, they'd look at it and they'd know what it is. If they would look at the decentralized compound, which is one of those organized groups of haters, well, it's D1, right? they see that that's a 4chan-like cesspool of bullshit. Like a reporter sees that. And I think, I'm actually sure, because I know, I've seen his work, Chris is an intelligent person, he sees this too. And that's what's so upsetting. He sees this. And he's getting out of it, he's trying to get out of it what he can for a juicy story that, coming from him, if he does it right, could really do serious damage based on lies. Because that is what he's already doing. It's not hypothetical, okay? It's not like, I'm not like, if it was just a journalist starting stuff, I would be like, awesome, all right, sure, come over. And we've invited Chris to come over, which you can do when the game is out, which is when it's most interesting and people are also more available and stuff. I'd be happy to, man. I'd be happy to. But this stuff... This stuff is not cool. And I don't like to start the conversation like this, but I feel like I absolutely have to, because otherwise, like, everything we work for here is in danger. And we are there's nothing crazy here going on. People who really follow us and aren't like some derailed haters or something, they know perfectly well it's all fucking chill here. Families come to visit here every week. There's nothing hidden. There's no dungeons in the basement. There's no manipulation shit. There's no, if you leave, we take your crypto. What? And reacted very aggressively, as most of you guys saw this on Twitter, to the thing. So to his email saying, please leave me alone. This is false. These are lies. So the person that he claims is being most affected, most hurt, most ruined, says, Jesus Christ, this is crazy, leave me alone. And then he went after her brother. Like, he started contacting her brother about this stuff. And the brother said, leave me the hell alone. Oh. Like, I really don't like to do this because, again, I like Chris's channel. I think it's cool. Like, I really like his stuff. Back then, when I was much more into gaming, purely into gaming, I would subscribe and not miss one video of that channel. It's good shit. Why is he doing this? I don't know. Because all these YouTube channels that are focusing on hit pieces are blowing up? I don't know. This is the behavior I see in these emails and what I hear from people. It doesn't make sense in the context of what he does. Like, I don't even know how that would work. But the thing is, we have to really defend ourselves. That's why I don't like this. I don't like this combative adversarial. Hey. I don't wanna dramatize stuff. But the thing is, Chris is forcing us to do something. So we are looking into what we can do about this, because this doesn't look like a good faith mode of operating. So we are working on doing a press release, possibly a joint press release with Save the Children, to address how, in general, cancel culture can address fundraising and what happened here. And I just want to say one more thing. Like, maybe in your mind, Chris, you can rationalize a lot of these things. But maybe what helps is to put yourself, like, to project into it this way. Imagine, and we are full within our right to do this, of course, there's nothing wrong with this. Imagine we start contacting the people you work with, Creative Assembly, whoever, and we say, you gotta help us stop Chris from doing cancel pieces on people because look what the kind of mail he sends. Like, not even making anything up, because your mail literally states your opinions as facts, as if they're facts, and that's the premise of your interview. We wouldn't even do that. We'd just be fair. We'd just be messaging people you work with, say like, just be aware, this is what the guy does. I mean, this would make you stay up at night as well. This would really affect you as well. It is not. You can't argue that this is journalism. You can't argue that this is cool. And you know what's fucked up? A lot of people tweeted to Chris about this. He has not responded to one tweet. I brought it up in DMs and emails several times. So like, you present yourself like this to the people you interview. Those parts of the emails went ignored. Like he doesn't respond to it. And I know there's plenty of low-hanging fruit with Athene because he's a controversial figure, and you can do stuff. It's a zero-effort game to make him look crazy, because we make ourselves look crazy. But to really take it seriously and really do serious reporting, that would, to be honest, that would result in an extremely fucking positive piece on us. I can say that honestly, truly, with true integrity, even if you drag out all the flaws that we have and the missteps that we've done. You can do that. I don't even mind, because I know what we do. I know how serious we take things. I know how pure of intent that we go about stuff. And okay, since the 20 minutes are now over, I will unmute Chris here. And Chris, if you would like to ask me anything or respond, you may do so. If you would like me to bring in Athene, I will bring in Athene. Although I want to say beforehand that Athene will answer all your questions in depth and, of course, fully honestly. But he may not have, he may put only the same amount of energy into his presence and approach as you do with the integrity of your journalism.
Okay. Well, yeah. First of all, I listened to what you just said there. As bizarre as that was for me, and I appreciate your point of view. I think something I'd like to start with is there's a piece of context that's missing here, which I would like to talk about. The email that is on screen at the moment and is the cause of some of your concern here, in which I talk about young and impressionable people, lives ruined, everything that you've got up next to me. That email was not sent directly to, it was actually sent to her brother, because her brother agreed to pass that on to her after a conversation that I'd had with him that day. And I'd just like to read you a few quotes from that conversation to give you some context for why my email is written in the way that it is. So to begin with, this was in text chat. I said, hi there, I'm a journalist working on a story about Athene and the group he's established in Germany. I believe is a part of that group. I was wondering if I could ask you some questions. For a start, it's not a leading question. I wasn't saying that, I was looking into how his life had been ruined or anything like that. His response immediately was, she is not a part of that anymore, and I wish she never will be again. You can ask me questions if you want. So I did. But it's important to point out that he, without any sort of suggestion from myself, started off by saying she is not a part of that anymore and I wish she never will be again. So I ask a question. I think the obvious place to start is this. You mentioned that you hope your sister never goes back to live with Athene. Why not? He responded, she is different. She was more progressive before, more happy. He even says here, what happened to her there, in my opinion, is a crime. I responded...
I'll let you continue right away, but I do want to interject one crucial piece of information, which is that, because we have heard from her brother since then as well, which is that her brother told us that he was in an angry mood. There were all sorts of factors at play. I don't know exactly which ones. And he said that he no longer stands by what he said. He said it came from misinterpretations. Just to be clear.
Yep, absolutely. I was going to point out at the end of the quotes, because so he did say that to me via message a week after these first messages. So just to give you some idea of the timing there, I'm sending an email through her brother based solely on this conversation. He hasn't yet said to me, hey, I was angry. Well, I'll talk about what he said afterwards, but this is what I'm working with at the moment. So he's just said, what happened to her there, in my opinion, is a crime. I asked, is that because she was manipulated? He said, we do that in some ways, but it's not just manipulate, it's controlling someone. He knows how people live and what their money is for. He knows that she was bad financially, and he used that whenever she didn't play the way he played. He knew appearance was important, so he kept telling her that she would grow old and ugly. He used various things to make her insecure, and money is one way for sure. He knew she was not financially secure. I asked, do you think she's afraid to return to... He said no, she's afraid that he will come to and doesn't know what to do. I asked, has he done that before, traveled to... Her brother said yes, and made her come back. And finally, I asked, I'm sorry if this is a difficult question to answer, but was your sister ever in a relationship with Athene? And he says, it is, but yes. She followed him years back before he answered her message. She probably idolized him. Later on, he clarified that he wasn't actually sure that they were in a relationship. And then, that is all the context I had when I wrote the message. Well, at least from him, that's all the context that I had. So I wrote the message based partly on what he'd said to me. And you're right. A week later, after you had, talked about the fact that this investigation was a hit piece, and obviously come back to work with you guys. A week later, he got back in contact with me to say that he'd spoken to his sister, he'd changed his mind about what he told us, and he actually was thinking about being a programmer, which is difficult to do so he might even come and join the group instead. I feel uncomfortable having to read all that out because obviously he's got some concerns about how that came across, and that he, was angry or in a bad mood, as you suggested, which is fair enough. But all I had to work with at that point when I wrote the email was based on those messages. He hadn't yet told me that was going to be taken back.
I want to emphasize and reiterate two things. One is that he clearly said afterwards, because just for the viewers, that he misinterpreted things, that there was no relationship, and that he doesn't want Chris to use, because that's what he told us. He doesn't want Chris to use anything he said. That is what Chris is doing right now. He's using what he said. After the person that he interviewed, that he was messaging with, said, I don't want you to use what I said because it's not correct. It shouldn't even be brought up. It's not a way to deal with confidential information as a journalist.
In fairness to myself, I wouldn't have brought this up had, you have painted me as I'm writing some kind of hit piece, and that are going in with these really leading sort of questions. That I just wanted to point out this conversation, which you're right, we would have used, we would have had to think about whether or not we could use this at all, based on the fact that he later takes it back. Although the context there is interesting, him saying that he is now thinking of applying to join the group because he would like to work as a programmer. I am only bringing this up right now because I feel like I have to, because that is the context for the email you're referencing on screen right next to me right now.
Yes, but even within that context, as I said before, this is not a professional journalistic thing to do. If a guy from CNN mails a Trump ex-cabinet member because her brother said this and that, and says, hey, help me take down Trump, basically. Help me stop him from influencing impressionable people.
I haven't said that to him. My opening question, again, just to read it, which is why it's important that I do this. Hi there, I'm a journalist working on a story about Athene, and the group is established in Germany. I believe is a part of that group. I was wondering if I could ask you some questions. He responded to me saying that he wished he'd never go back there again.
But these quotes are from an email directed to. You can say I relayed that email through her brother or so forth.
Actually, the email, like I sent to her brother.
Right here on the screen is a picture of you saying hi from that email.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. It was an email to that her brother was passing on based on the conversation we just had.
Exactly, and this is extremely not done.
I don't understand what you're talking about. Her brother had just told me that what had happened to her was a crime. Like, it is partly my responsibility to react to messages like that. And if there is a
CNN reporter would get fired unless he would put it like, well, your brother claims this. He wouldn't say, hey, they're ruining lives there. What is your comment? Because then you are deceptively framing the premise of the interview as, me as a journalist, I have uncovered that they are ruining lives. What is your comment? And then the person will trust that you as a journalist, because that's how you present yourself, that you have uncovered this and you have evidence for this. And that's why it's so deceptive, and you know this.
Okay, so first of all, as I said, this was going through her brother, this conversation just happened with, in which he told me that on her behalf. Second of all, I've spoken to a former member of your group that has needed to remain anonymous because of the NDAs that people sign when they join your group. And a quote from that person is this: even if they make the world a better place, I don't believe the methods are justified. Looking back, joining was the worst decision I made in my life. It was great until I questioned Athene's actions. Then everything turned around. That to me suggests that, if that's the worst moment of that person's life, that there is a pattern forming here.
Chris, I'm really sorry, but you're making things actually far worse now. Because what I was thinking was maybe he really has anonymous sources or whatever that are really saying, my life has been ruined by this. But no, you are pointing to relatively mild things. An angry brother, a guy who said it was the worst time in his life. Like, you're portraying, and then you go to and say, you need to help me stop him ruining impressionable and young people's lives. By the way, I am not that impressionable. Most people here, I don't think you'd find him very impressionable. And I'm not that young either. I'm 35. Most people here, I think the average age is 25 at least. I think so. I'm not sure. Like, what the stuff you're framing here, the sources you mention, the quotes you are mentioning to back this up are even terrible quotes to try to back this up. So this makes it sound even worse, because what I was thinking was you were talking to probably the person who left here and stole money and had clearly malicious intent and was then feeding you lies, saying, yes, my life has been completely ruined or whatever. But that's not even the case. You have pretty mild citations of people who had some bad experiences and say, this guy's ruining lives. This is even worse than what I thought.
Okay, you're talking about me having mild citations. Like some key quotes from that conversation again were, what happened to her there, in my opinion, is a crime. We all do that in some ways, but it's not just manipulation, it's controlling someone. He used various things to make her insecure, and money is one way for sure. He knew she was not financially secure. Those are not like quotes that I can just ignore as someone investigating this.
Chris, I'm really sorry, but that's those things, even if there is, like, there's, by the way, no goddamn truth to it, and the brother also retracted it when he talked more with about it, but like, even if those things were true, you can't say these things, and it's not making you look good to keep trying to defend it. I mean, if I was you, I would just apologize. Jesus Christ, what did you send, man? I would just say, like, yeah, I shouldn't have said it like that. I shouldn't have put it like that. That's pretty damn extreme. You're really trying to convince, hey, I've uncovered lives are being ruined here. Give me your comment. And I don't know what's worse, because I know you send different kinds of emails to different people. I don't know what is worse, that you really believe or pretend to really believe this and present it that way to people, or that you selectively, because of a video of VOD where I was crying, think, ha, I will confirm the worst things I can possibly put in the email. I'm going to make it sound really bad, and she'll probably say yes, because look, in that video, she's very emotional, so I can get confirmation for whatever I make up. That's what it's starting to sound like now.
I'm glad you brought up the video. So for people that don't know, that is of a live stream that recorded once after one of the times in which she left your group. In that live stream, like, yes, she was emotional, but she also talked about the psychological abuse she'd received and the fact that she was traumatized by having lived there. And I understand that she has since gone back and you feel that has been resolved. But I've not yet to hear, like, a good reason why she felt she was being psychologically abused. I don't think you can say something much stronger than that in terms of us going off very weak information. There's a stream out there in which is crying and talking about that.
Actually, yes, that stream gives a lot, like, that's what it more sounds like when you look at only a part of that stream that went semi-viral. When you look at the entire stream,
I have the full stream, yeah, but when I understand.
I'm just saying, when you look at the entire stream, you get a lot more context. And the thing is, it is not uncommon for people in relationships, people in whatever kind of situation, to feel.
So are you saying that Athene were in a relationship?
No, I'm talking about any kind of relationship. Like,
so what, but like, I've never said that one of my friends has psychologically abused me. I've never said that about a colleague. I would say that is, like, yeah, I understand that you don't think that is necessarily a big thing.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying psychological abuse is not a big thing. I'm just saying.
So, but what is the psychological abuse that she is referring to?
I'm just saying, what is not that uncommon is for people to be frustrated, say certain things that they afterwards take back. That video has been really working hard to try to remove that. She's been messaging, trying to get it removed from Reddit and stuff, because she was very uncomfortable with what was said. She deleted the VOD. She doesn't support it being up. She doesn't support you mailing that VOD to people like you did with my brother and getting their comment on it. She doesn't want people to talk about that. She's uncomfortable about it. She's not behind the things that were said in an emotional moment in that VOD. And she's made that pretty damn clear in her tweets as well.
Given that you are the head of this organization, if someone working for you has said that they were subject to psychological abuse and months of trauma, like, I haven't heard you explain why someone would say that. Like, what is the reasoning? Because otherwise we're just going off your word, which is a dangerous thing to do in this situation.
Like, all I can say is I act as responsibly as I can running this place. And people here, like, I try to make sure that everything is cool for them, and that if they don't feel good here, like, then, that is addressed or whatever. Herself she's here right now. She doesn't want to talk about this stuff, but she's not like.
That's okay. I'm not.
I'm not going to speak for her. I'm just going to say
I don't want you to speak for her. I'm just saying that
she's denying these things. She's implying that it was said in a whatever you want to call it, a certain mood. She wanted it removed. It is unfair to her to try to make that the story if she has basically retracted it.
Okay, but it was said, and then when I talked to her brother, and yes, he took it back later on, he said some stuff which I found pretty worrying. Like there is an amount of evidence there, and that was why I emailed in the way that I did, because it seems like she had gone through something which, okay, she doesn't want to talk about, I understand, but like that, she has said the word psychological abuse and trauma. Like there's no taking that back without some kind of explanation.
But people... like this kind of stuff happens all the time. Like
it doesn't. When I get angry, I might like swear at my dog. I don't say,
Chris, there's
like,
been streamers
psychologically
that
abused.
because of just a conflict with someone else said
That's absolutely fair. To be clear, our piece isn't focusing on. It is about the group and about Athene, and maybe it would be good, given that we said that we would just spend 20 minutes on this topic, to maybe we could start the interview, and then if you can judge by the questions that we ask what this investigation is and how fair we are. And also we have done something here which we feel a bit weird about, which is agreeing to do this interview live and broadcast where you can record it.
well, I know it's unusual, but I'm sorry.
No, I understand. I'm just saying that means if you feel like we misrepresent anything that's been said, you have you've got this interview recorded and you can reference that. So maybe
Exactly.
it would just be good to go straight there.
Exactly. All right. So I'll bring in Athene.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Cool. Again, I want to just to be clear to the viewers as well. Like we are not exactly thrilled with the way that Chris went about displaying journalistic integrity. Athene will put as much effort in his presence and approach, but he will give extensive, honest, in-depth replies to his questions.
Okay.
Going live, guys. Check it out. Twitter.tv/team live. It's going to be a nice interview. Let's see. Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, hello. Yeah, I was. 1 second. I can't actually see you. My stream hasn't updated. 1 second. Let's see. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear. I'll put you a little bit louder.
Okay, thanks. Oh, I'm sitting a little bit away. Yeah, so thanks for making the time to answer some of my questions. Yeah, I think 1 second. Let me just see that I can get the screen up. I feel like things maybe got a little heated then, so we'll try and calm things down slightly. Yeah, so to begin with, Athene, could you talk to me a little bit about, you have kind of an unusual living setup here. Like, what is what is life actually like at the compound? I think that's what a
Well,
lot of people think.
we invited you, so come check it out because I can make up whatever I want.
Yeah, I mean, we've accepted that invitation, but then you asked us to wait until after the game is released. Is that right?
Well, yeah, if you want to come before the game, then what's going to happen is there's not going to be a lot of people you can interview and stuff because they'll be busy. And I want you to get a full, just a full view on what is going on and ask people, and they have time, and so you can't, warp stuff and say like, hey, people are not allowed to talk to me or whatever. So yeah, if you come after the game is out, then you'd have a easier access to people, coders, whatever, to ask any of your questions and see if your concerns are justified.
Okay, well, I'm speaking to you now, so I guess we could talk about what your experience is like. What is a normal day like for you in do you call it the compound, or is that just a sort of
We actually don't even call it the compound is like a joke that arises because of Twitch. I always make quite some jokes, and it sounds really like cultish, and I was just running with the joke of it being a cult, even though it's not the case, obviously. So we just call it a compound, but internally we don't even call it a compound. It's like, oh yeah, are you coming back here? It's like basically just a place. People don't even have to give it a name. It's just like here.
Like home, I guess.
Well, some people call it home, but I haven't heard people use the word home though.
Right.
Like just the place here. It's in a sense like a non-profit what is it, working space. It's just a working space that people share, and people come and go all the time. We had more than 300 people coming over in total, and we are now 45. So it's just on and off. People come and go all the time.
Right. And what's your role within that? Like, what is your sort of day-to-day within that group?
Well, when I wake up, I'll just say I eat, I take my supplements, and I just do my tour, which means I go to Nolan. He's the one that does a lot of the design of the game, and I check, design stuff, make some discussions, and then I do some checkup with Fabio, which is the guy that basically has more of an overview, and see if people have stuff to do, because running out of work is really, people just get bored. It's not like, oh yeah, we try to, it's not like a labor camp or something, just to be sure. It's just like, so people have to-do lists, and then basically what I do is also I talk to Reese to see if there's any stuff about, a journalist trying to cancel us or whatever, like any news in that regards, or just some legal stuff, because he's the one that is actually running the show legally. And he's also the one that, that does all the money stuff. And then I also go and check out with the bottleneck of our game, which is the backend coders upstairs. I check with them, say like, what's going on? What's the ETA? Because, with coding, there's always stuff coming in and off. And overall, that's basically it. I run around, I think about stuff, and I stream as well. I try to stream 3 hours a day, but if things are more busy, I stream a bit less. I also, that's basically it, I guess. Is there anything I'm missing? No, I also check out games. Yeah, I check out games, mobile games, statistics, analytics, that kind of stuff, because I'm very heavily involved in the design of the game.
Sure.
That's it.
Okay, and so like you said, Reese is like officially the sort of like running the organization.
Yes.
So what if you were to have like a job title, how would you describe yourself?
I'm just a hobo.
But you're not. You're more than that, clearly. Like you.
No, officially, I'm just a hobo.
Okay.
It's like imagine like literally, I don't have a bank account. I don't have any money. I just try to do good in the world. I wake up and I see what can I do, and that's basically it. Like I don't have a job title. I don't get paid. I just do things because I believe in them. And if you look at my track record, well, it shows all over it. Even back in the days, like I was very active in politics. I was also in Big Brother in order to talk about racism and stuff. Like I never went for the money. Even Save the Children and stuff. All the stuff we did, we never took a cut or anything. I did play some poker at one point in the past, and even there I gave all the money to Reese, because I like to just be outside the system. I don't want to be like legally binded to whatever. I like to be free, and of course that means that like I'm a bit of a hobo, but I don't care so much. I mean, if I get to help a lot of people, a lot of kids, at the end of the day, whatever. Like I know a lot of people, even lawyers and stuff, tell Reese that I'm a bit crazy for not for not being on the papers and stuff. But he just says he doesn't want anything. I don't want anything, and that's how it is. That's also, if you look at the paperwork and everything, I'm always just like I'm outside of the system in a sense. And that means that Reese can literally kick me out. He can kick me out today, and I'm out, and that's it. So yeah.
Well, okay. Hopefully, I'll wait till after the interview. As well as that, you like from an outside perspective, it also looks like you're like the face of this organization to some extent. You're also like its main recruiter. Like these live streams, the podcasts. Your role is also about recruitment, right?
What I first want to say, recruitment. I don't know if recruitment is the right word. I would rather call it, I raise a lot of awareness. And the reason why I'm the main face is because I'm the biggest icon. But like there's other people that stream here. Like you have Maral, you have Tanya, you have Charisse, you have Dana. I mean, if they would have more following than me, then you could say they are maybe the ones that raises the most awareness. So I wouldn't say like I am the main face because I am the main face because I want to, but because it's just, happened to be like that. Even in the past, I mean, Furious at one point, if you don't know, like Furious was my person in my WoW videos, used to become even very popular and get a lot of fame, which I actually like. I actually don't like to be in the spotlight. I rather am in the background because all of this, I mean, even what I have to deal with now, I wouldn't have to deal with it if I was on the background, because I don't like the attention. I don't like all the focus. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't say I'm the main recruiter or the main face because I want to be in that position, but rather because it is what has naturally come out, even though I wouldn't call it recruitment, more raising awareness.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so how many people are working with you at the moment? Do you say something like 45? Was that right?
Around 45, yes. But it goes up and down all the time. At one point it was 60, and at one point it was 20. Like even less, it was 12 at one point. So it goes up and down all the time. So yeah, and it's just people coming over here voluntarily. You actually have interviewed quite a bit of them, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was following a little bit what you were saying to Reese, I didn't think it was so fair to really cherry pick the quotes, because a lot of people have told you they had really great experience, but I guess that's not so much interesting for your piece. But hey, if you want to give a proper overview on what is going on it would be nice to give a nice overview, because you talk to quite some, because we've got contacted by quite some that you reached out to, and they didn't say these things that your anonymous source that we all know talked about, just so you know. But
we're not disputing the fact that people have had a positive time there. We also have some issues we'd like to talk about as well.
So you're saying that that some people had a great time here. It was not just only their lives ruined.
I've heard some people talk about how when they arrive, you get to pick what food you're going to get the next day.
If they look back at their experience, do they regret they came over, all of them?
No.
So would you call them young and impressionable and ruining their lives? Would you call that? Do you think it's a little bit taken out of context?
I tried to explain that context to Reese beforehand.
But you stated as a fact that everybody's here and following that. So like these people you talked to and you interviewed that said they had actually a good experience. What about them?
Yeah, that will be reflected in our piece. We are not just, however, the
piece, not in the mail.
I've already explained to Reese the context for the message.
I just like people to know your intent. That's all. That's fine. You can keep going.
Okay. All right. So Reese mentioned that there's been something like 300 plus volunteers that have been a part of your group over the years. Do you have any idea how many exactly, or is it just somewhere in that ballpark?
We have database of all the people that came over. And I think it's around 300, yes.
Right.
It's around 300. I think it's around 300 that got accepted. I don't know how many people came, because we also initially were in Merksem in Belgium, and there also a lot of people came and back, and we didn't had It was a lot less organized back in the days. And there's a lot of data we don't have, but now we actually keep data to also make sure that when people, are here, we have contacts to their family in case anything happens or whatever. Like, things have become a lot more structured. So we basically, have records of these things. So I would say around 300. Yeah, around
Right.
300.
And what's the gender divide like within that group? Initially, like, it was mostly guys, but then more women have joined. Like, over the last
I would
year or
say
so?
I would actually say that, but of course I don't have really these statistics, so I'm pulling a little bit numbers out of my ass. But it, like, compared to the audience that I have, percentually, there's, I think, 3 times more girls that apply than guys. Because I think my audience is like 98, 99% male. And yeah, if we are like right now at 7 or 8 girls, I think, and what is it, 30, 37 or 38 guys. So percentually, it seems a lot more girls are coming over. And they also overall have really good experience here. Even the thing with, like, that you like to bring up, even that, it was a moment of frustration, and she brought it up, and she afterwards deleted the VOD. She didn't want people to talk about it because, like, she didn't feel like it was right, and that's all. And she has also made that very clear. But you seem to like to keep bringing it up and making it sound like an absolute truth. But whatever.
I haven't brought it up in this interview as of yet.
You did bring it up while talking to Reese, but it's fine.
Okay. So yeah, you said, like, there's maybe like 30, 6 or 7 guys, 7 women.
It's not the same people, by the way. I'm just saying,
no.
like, it's like if a lot of people come and go, it fluctuates a lot. Yeah.
And do people have romantic relationships then within the compound? Obviously, you sort of live and work here.
Well, like, it's honestly, when it comes down to these things, it's none of my business. Like, of course, people have relationships. Actually, what has happened quite often is like, people get in a relationship and leave, which is fine. I mean, like, if they want to, have a different future, and they feel like, working in this place is not, what they want to do for that moment, that's fine. I mean, like, people are always free to come and go whenever. So yeah, like, there is quite some relationships that happened here, and also some couples that came over. So yeah, obviously that's normal. Like, there's actually no rules, whatever. Just in general, there is no rules, only practical rules about garbage and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a romantic relationship with one of the volunteers?
Myself?
Yeah.
Well, whether I would or wouldn't, why, like, that would be none of your business, to be honest. It's like,
Yeah, this is something you said after you found out about the investigation. On one of your live streams, you were sitting next to a volunteer that was a woman, and you said, I think directed at me, even if I would fuck her, that's none of your business. Why did you say that?
Because it's true. I mean, like, I can do whatever I want in my private life, and that doesn't concern you. I mean, if I tell you, do you cheat on your girlfriend or on your wife? I say, like, do you have any romantic relationship with anyone? Chris, tell me, please.
The
How
difference
is it about
being
your parents? How is their relationship going? Can you tell me
the
about
difference
that?
being here that I think the difference being here is that these volunteers, you can potentially have a big impact on their day-to-day lives. You could, you are paying for for them to stay there, their food. A lot of them are sort of fans of your work. A number of them have invested in your cryptocurrency. You could kick them out of the compound potentially if you wanted to. So I'm just asking about this because
even when it comes down to these things, right? When it comes down to kicking or not kicking, it's not even a decision that I make. When it comes down to people getting kicked out, it's only for security threat. Because at the end of the day, like, why would you kick someone out? I mean, if they are here and they're doing their best in any shape or form, I mean, what would be the reason to kick them out? It's not like I'm running the show. That's the thing. You're trying to make it sound like I'm the one bossing everybody around in the compound, while Reese is the one that has literally all the he's the one that owns everything. So you're like this question, what you should ask about romanticism or whatever, you should have asked this to Reese when you had the chance, because he's the one that is in this power position, not me. Why are you asking these questions to me while Reese would be even more interesting for you to ask these questions? I don't get it.
I guess because there's a number of things that make it particularly like worth asking you about. One, we have had someone come out and talk about psychological abuse in relation to yourself.
Well, that person clearly even came here earlier telling you she doesn't want you to talk about these things, and you're still doing it. It seems you don't really care about how she feels, does it, Chris?
I'm just saying that.
Look in the camera, please, and look in my eyes. Do you actually care about her?
Of course I do. I'm just stating that is
respect her wishes. Do you want her to come back inside and tell you, man, can you please shut up about these things? I don't want you to talk about it. You're hurting me, or you don't care about it at all.
I suppose the question I really want to hear answered is: do you think it would be there would be an ethical issue with you having a romantic relationship with one of your volunteers?
Oh no, of course not.
You don't think it would be ethical?
Just as much as it's not. Just as much as it's not wrong if Reese would have a relationship with someone here or anyone here. I mean, like, what is it? Do you think that we tell people who they can have relationships with or not? Of course, I don't have any issues with people having a romantic relationship here. That sounds crazy.
I'm talking about you specifically. You are in a position of power, clearly. That people listen to you.
Reese is in a bigger position of power than I am. Why didn't you ask these questions to Reese? Didn't you hear what he said? Or you don't care about Reese because he's not enough of a low-hanging fruit for your little article? Like, come on, man, Chris. You want to ask these questions about power? Do I have to call Reese back in so he can answer these questions to you? Because he's more.
But I'm not asking Reese. I'm asking you. And
yeah, but he's in a bigger position of power than me. He can kick me out tomorrow. So you should ask him, because he is my boss in a sense.
I have asked you like multiple times now to answer this question. Do you think there would be an ethical issue if you did have a romantic relationship with one of your volunteers?
I don't think there's an ethical issue for me at all to have a romantic relationship with someone. Why would there be? Seriously.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll move on to my next question.
Come on, seriously. What kind of a question is that, Chris? Are you really trying so hard to find something? You got to try a bit harder. Let's go. Next question. That's quite funny.
I'd like to ask you about some of your views on women more generally. In 2016, when one of the first women joined your group, you recorded a live stream with her where you said, let's say you were a guy and you sent the application, I wouldn't have accepted you. Why not?
Sorry, what was your question?
Oh, sorry. In 2016, when one of the first women joined your group in Forst, you recorded a live stream with her where you said to her, let's say you were a guy and you sent the application, I wouldn't have accepted you. Why not?
Well, the thing is, though, like when it comes down to applications, right? We have a very different approach when it comes down to girls than with guys. And the reason why we do so, and it's important, by the way, to use the full context. Don't clip this stuff and take it out of context, because honestly, like, if you just turn and twist around my words into your documentary, I would not be okay with that. So I would like you to give the full context, because I know what I'm going to say, if you clip it out of context, can sound really, really bad, but in full context sounds very, reasonable. Can we? Oh yeah.
I mean, this will be recorded. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but like in your documentary, you will take just pieces. So I wouldn't be surprised you go like, da-da-da-da, men are differently treated than women, and then I go like, yeah, like men are different applications, ba-bam, and then you don't give even any context. I see you do that. So I'm just saying, like, I would like you to give the full context. And the reason why is because why guys and girls are differently treated is because out of experience, when guys come over here, they're much more focused on just, getting a workload and focus on that in a very organized way, while girls want to turn this place in something where they feel more safe, where they can put it more as a place of home, and as a result, they also are much more proactive, and they feel a lot more engaged. While guys, on the other hand, if you just come over and you say, I do whatever you want, they go to their room and they start playing video games. I have had yet to see that with any girl that comes over. Girls have the tendency to just more easily take ownership when they feel like their place is home. And that's why, for a practical setting, we are we are treating the applications differently for girls than for guys, and that also has evolved quite a bit. Because you're saying 2016, I mean 3 years ago, we have learned a lot since then, and also it's the reality, it's the practical reality that makes us decide what kind of approaches we have. And so far, I have to say that my experiences with girls is way better than with guys, because they don't even need so much. They don't even need so much like what I would say management. They don't even need any management at all. They just find they just they how do you say it? They build themselves, or they create themselves. They're just it's just very different. While with guys, yeah, if they don't know what to do, they just start, they get bored and they leave. Actually, they just leave. So that's why the approach is different. So if a guy would just message us with an application saying like, hey, I just want to come there and I just want to goof around or whatever, check out the place, feel, see how it feels and all that stuff. These kind of applications have proven to get people that come over that just end up leaving. And all of this stuff, like when people come over here, there's a lot of resources that go into people. Like we make sure they have, their room gets taken care of, like they get, and the main thing that the main resource I would say is the guidance they get in terms of coding. People help them. It's almost like, you go to university and you get like people literally coaching you next to you. I mean, the time that these people spend, it's important that we know that the chances of these people actually, are serious about it is more on the high end. That's why when their application doesn't express dedication, that based on our experience, they don't work out. While a girl application, they don't even need to show any dedication. Of course, they are, in a position where they more want to, explore and more want to check out the place. And that's why we have this different approach.
Okay. So 5 months after that stream, you were recording a stream with the same woman, and I'd like to just quote a section of it here. She was asked a question by the Twitch chat, which said, "What is the logical reason for you to wear makeup?" And she responded, "Because I will do interview for a documentary," referring to something that your group was producing. You then said, "And if she looks a little better, she will reach more people." She replied, "The thing is, I want to reach the girls. I would like to inspire a lot of girls to come here." And at this point, you said, "It's going to happen. All these guys," meaning the Twitch viewers, "are going to get laid with logic pussy. If you guys never got laid, there will be pussy for everyone here. At a certain point, we can't add more people, but we can add girls because they can both sleep in the same room." I guess my question is, do you think that's a fair way to talk about women, both in front of your audience, but also in front of a woman who has volunteered to work with you?
Who was a woman, by the way? I was. Well, maybe we can ask her if she got offended by it, because I mean, like if, like the amount of times that I say some funny stuff on the internet, I mean, who cares? Like, that my Twitch stream is funny. Maybe you should go to Wrath of the Lead King and start taking some quotes there, to put them out of context. Like, I'm just a show bringer. Did you see the Raj Patel show?
I saw some of it.
Yeah, you saw some things like, yeah, maybe I'm just running a cult and all these girls coming here. And one girl was even, bending over, making it look like she was gonna, drop my pants. Maybe that's all real too. Come on, man. You know that these things, like, this is a show. Like, you can easily, there is way better stuff you can quote from a. Maybe you can also, like these comedians. Who was it? David Chappelle. Maybe you can quote some stuff from him. A lot worse by Michael Jackson and stuff. You can do that and say like, hey, what do you think about saying this stuff on your show, man? What do you think? Come on, you know that my Twitch stream is a show and my YouTube channel is a show, and I know things are becoming more and more political correct. But if you wanna win some easy points, this is not a good one. It's just a show, man. I'm just having a good laugh, and she also had a good laugh. And if you see my streams with Maral, we do some way worse things than that. And we're just having a good laugh. So don't say like how I treat girls and women. If we based it on that, then I would say you are violating a lot more, because the girl you keep mentioning it over and over again is a girl that told you to stop talking about her, and it seems you can't stop doing it. So if you really truly care about, but you try to take her into the context, and you keep trying to make the story right. It's not because you don't say her name that it makes her feel most comfortable, because people can just pull up this VOD and they exactly know what you're talking about. Can you stop doing that? Or you don't give a shit about her. Like,
I'm not asking about her. I'm asking about whether you feel
girls,
that is.
You're talking about treating girls in a respectful manner. She clearly stated, this is already the third or fourth time she came to me and say, please leave me out of it. Why can't you do that? Is the juicy hit piece so juicy that you can't do that? I mean, like, it's quite easy, right? So don't come and talk to me about respecting women when you can't even respect the simple wish of her telling you to stop harassing her family, stop talking and bringing up the VOD, and you keep doing it. It seems like when it comes down to, disrespect, you score much higher on that than me making jokes on the internet on my Twitch channel. Seriously, bro.
I don't think you've actually answered my question yet. Like, do you think that is a fair way to talk about women in front of your audience?
I think it's if you go to David Chappelle and you say, is it a fair way of talking about women when you say this or that or that? It's like, it's a freaking, it's a joke show. It's funny. It's like, it's humor. I don't have to explain anything. Do I have to explain what kind of jokes I make to you? Like, seriously, like, best paladin in the world, Athene, and all that stuff. Like, do I have to start explaining every single joke when I threw a fake basketball to Tanya's head? Do I have to explain that one too? Because you can't treat girls like that. You can't throw a basketball to a girl's head. I mean, come on, seriously. It's a joke. My Twitch show is a joke. Even the Real Talk podcast, right? Like, a lot of the way I come across and stuff, it's a show. If I don't do these things, nobody watches my stream. People just go Resident Sleeper in the chat. I bring some extra, fluff to it. So don't tell me that that's the way I respect women. You want to know how I get respected by a woman? Check the tweet that Tanya sent to you. She knows me more than 20 years, and what you say are filled with lies. You are more, being disrespectful by the way you treat me and the way I actually, try to help out the world and everything and try to twist words. You're the one that is the aggressor. I'm just chilling around, making a stream, doing good in the world, raising money for charity. And the people here, Maral, Cassie, Tanya, all these people send you messages. You think, and then you come and try to I don't know, white knight, say like that I am treating girls wrongly or whatever. Come on, seriously, man. That is this is completely try harding. I don't have to explain any jokes I make on the stream. And if you think that is serious, then maybe you should revisit sarcasm on Google and understand what kind of humor that is, and then maybe you will get a better understanding of why I do what I do on the internet.
Okay, so on the 21st of June 2016, you recorded another live stream with two women sitting on either side of you, in which you sort of pitted them against each other to raise money, not for charity, but for themselves. And yeah, with your encouragement, this was set up as a stream in which the audience would donate money to their favorite woman out of the two. And along with that donation, they could write a message that would appear on the stream. Usually you'd read that out. I'm not going to use the women's real names here.
It was.
Okay, I don't understand why you did that. Okay, and
I made them some good money. They were really happy about it. So yeah, what's up?
Okay, so here's some of the donation messages that you displayed on your stream. So X is the kind of girl that would suck a dick at a bus stop. Look at those tits. I would titty fuck her so hard. That blonde bitch is dumb, but I would fuck her hard. Still, X tits looks nice, very nice in that push-up bra. Y, I would grab your long hair and force you down on all fours. Stick my massive cock up in your ass.
Right? You're talking
yes,
about the alert.
While groping on those big tits with my
other hand. You know how funny it sounds, Chris? You can go right now to Soda Poppin and donate him $5 with that in the alert, and he would show up on his stream. Are you going to go and interview him about that as well and say like, hey, you're showing this stuff on your stream? Come on, man. Is that the best you can do? I thought you had a little bit more ammo when you wanted to try and bring me down. Like, this just sounds like a joke. Every single streamer that will hear that, he's trying to interview about the alerts that show up when someone donates, and he's trying to pull you down for that. That sounds like that's a really, really shitty attempt. And also, I had a good laugh. They made some good money. If you can go to a streamer and say like, hey, I want to donate you $500, but I want to say some titties and sucking in the message. Can I do so? They would say like, give it to me all you want and say whatever you fuck you want in your message, because these $500 will do much more better than some virgin on the internet trying to get a response of a girl. So you cannot make me responsible for these things that are being said. That's really, yeah, gotta try a little bit harder. So what's the next thing?
It's also worth pointing out that it wasn't just the Twitch chat that had things to say about the two women during the stream. These are some quotes from you. She can't help it that she has big tits, though. When one of the women says, "I'm not about dancing on the stream for money," sorry, Athene, you respond with, "You're not the feminazi kind of girl, right?" You said, "They are already growing closer. This is nice. I think at the end they will just get together or something." And finally, maybe they'll give you a little jig. I don't know. Maybe they'll give you some nice moves. Maybe they'll start competing with the moves. Maybe you guys will get some nice show. My question is, do you think there's a problem with anything that you said there?
Well, Chris, just as much as I don't think there's a problem with, the show of Stick and Stones in the context of humor, as long the girls were feeling comfortable with it, and it was just for the show, whatever. It's not because in these 3 years we've become a lot more politically correct that these things cannot be said. There's a lot of stuff that I would love to, do and say nowadays in the environment of humor, but I can't. Like, I literally had to shut down my own YouTube channel, even though people loved it. People loved my humor, and it's this kind of bullshit that is the reason why I had to shut it down, because I can't even make jokes anymore. I can talk about, jiggling tits or whatever the fuck if it's in the context of making a joke and people laughing. Why do we have to be so goddamn serious? Is that your spiel? Is that your angle, trying to come as the white knight? You're not allowed to say anything, not make any fun. You're the guy that goes tweets on the, these stand-up comedians and say, "How dare you to make this kind of stuff, these kind of jokes? Come on, where did we come?" This kind of angle ain't gonna get you far, because more and more people are actually seeing how absurd it all is. This entire political correct landscape is just outrageous. It's like you're more pissed and more annoyed than the girls that were here next to me, to the point where you even go against them and how they feel. You know that the girls you're talking about, they both contacted us about you. So when it comes down to these kind of things, right, and what you're saying and pretending to be like on the good side or whatever, like, you're full of shit. You don't care. If you actually truly cared, you would respect what I told you. You don't care about it at all. And now you're talking about like certain things out of context. Loved that show, and they loved the amount of money they made. That money actually, has more tangible impact in their lives than a random guy, what he says in the message, or me just, having a little show and having a good laugh at it. So you can't just come and take these things out of context, making it look like I disrespect women. I have a lot of respect for women, and the most, actually way more than you. You know why? Let me tell you why. I care about women because I know when they have a child and they have to bury that child, it's the biggest pain a woman can go through. Do you know that's one of the reasons why I go out of my way to save lives? Because of that. I respect women. I respect mothers more than anything, because I know they have to, carry a lot of pain, and I put that into action, not trying to make hit pieces and try to put someone like me down. Do you know how much good I do in the world? And then you're trying to portray me as some kind of, some misogynistic guy, while I'm very respectful to women, more than anyone that I know. And you can talk to Maral, to actually the girls that know me, and ask these questions. Maybe you'll find one that says otherwise, the one that scammed me for money. Maybe that's one of your anonymous sources. You can go about that, or you can just go to Purpose 2. One guy will pretend to be a girl and say whatever you want to hear from me. Maybe that's not a bad idea. A guy will definitely pretend to be here and be a girl. You can make any kind of statement at that point. But yeah, let's go. What's the next thing?
So this is more recently in 2018. You recorded a live stream on Twitch in which you shared some of your views on the biological differences between men and women. This is a quote from you. Women don't need to be resourceful. Women need to be manipulative, while men have to be resourceful. That's how biology works. So they literally became masters at it, to an extent at which it's literally their instinct. For me, it's quite a realization, as it allows me to understand genders. I'll give you a really good example. When a girl is with a guy, she already knows whether she wants to stay with him or to settle with him or not. If she doesn't, she just uses him to really get what she wants, and then she moves on. To me, that's mind-boggling. I can't relate with that. Later that same day, you carried on this discussion during one of your Discord after parties, and here you said, it's quite fascinating how girls have evolved to be emotionally manipulative machines. Reese agreed with you, saying, yep. You respond, and if you truly understand it, it just stops working. If a guy tried to pull that to another guy, the guy would just laugh in his face. But a girl can get away with it because a guy channels it through, she's more fragile, she's more vulnerable, I have to take care of her. That's why a guy has this weak spot, this blind spot that can be completely twisted. Reese says it's true. You said it can be exploited. It's so fascinating. I'm just wondering how these comments show that you care more about women than anyone else you know.
Well, like let me tell you something. First of all, I love my mother more than anyone. And when it comes down to my personal relationships with women, I also treat them with respect and the way I would like to be treated myself. Aside from what my experiences have taught me. And when it comes down to my experiences, like what you're saying right now, right, about emotional, manipulative, and all that stuff, Maral told me these things. I'm not even saying as an anonymous source. She told me they're very, very talented at pushing the right buttons. I can say everything you just said in different words, and then you would just even agree with me. The difference is that you're trying to, make it sound like I'm this evil guy, and you use like certain very emotional loaded words because that's your intent, that's your agenda. You don't care about the truth. You truly know that there is no fire. You know it, but you don't care. Is it because you got triggered with my real talk at one point and you were watching the stream? I don't know, man. But like honestly, like if you try to make me look bad and that's your intent and that's the only thing you care about and that's what you tunnel vision on, like why do you even need my responses? Just make your peace and say whatever the fuck you want. That's how it works anyway. Why do you even want to hear me respond to any of your claims? Because I can talk you under the table for each one of them. You know what you're doing. It's like when I say like, oh yeah, emotional, manipulative, this and that, and like, oh yeah, the way you say it in the tone or whatever the fuck. Like when it comes down to relationships and when it comes down to relationships between man and woman or whatever, right? It's about trying to understand it. It's not about, finding labels and judge it. It's about understanding our nature, understanding where we came from, understanding why we work, how we work. And the thing is like there is nothing wrong about trying to figure it out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I'm not trying to just to say these things as absolutes at all. It's just my ability or my way of trying to understand. And there is differences between women and men, even though I believe they're fundamentally equal. There is differences, and the way a woman grows up and the way a man grows up is fundamentally different. And it's just for me very fascinating to see how the world and how a woman experiences the world is so different that I can't even relate to it. I can't even understand it. And if I didn't get told like, oh yeah, we can manipulate and all that stuff, if I get that told, then obviously it shakes up my paradigm. What's wrong with that? Then I talk about it on the stream, but I'm always open to hear otherwise. But at this point, you make a pretty good case about emotional manipulation use, so maybe I should review it and also, add Chris to that equation, because you're actually also a little bit emotionally manipulative. And the extent to which you go, even now on the stream getting exposed and stuff, I gotta say, I didn't know that you would go to that extent, but keep on going. You can keep going. What's your next thing? Let's go.
I don't think you, again, answered my question there. So I'm pointing out that this stuff that you say, you obviously have an audience that listens to you and takes what you say very seriously, so much so that people come and, join your group and work with you. They are like, do you not feel you have a responsibility when you say something like, it's quite fascinating how girls are evolved to be emotionally manipulative machines, which is just something you said. I'm not taking that out of context. You have an audience that is listening to that, an audience of mostly guys, but some women who are going to hear that and internalize it because it's you saying it. Do you not think there's a problem with that?
But the thing is, though, the way you are bringing it up is like as I'm stating it as an absolute truth. For me, it's like if I'm being told by someone that this is how they operate, then I find it very baffling, and I talk and I share about it on the stream because that's what real talk is. I talk about controversial topics all the time. If Destiny says it's fine to fuck your mom, like in order to for the rhetorical reason or whatever the fuck, I mean, like, are you gonna say like, hey, all these kids are watching you and these mothers are watching you, what are they gonna do? They're gonna go to their mother and say like, hey, can I fuck you? Like, seriously, man, this is what real talk is about. You can't take this out of context and make it sound like, oh yeah, you gotta go and like all these vulnerable people. Like what I'm doing to people that watch me is make them think for themselves. That's literally the first thing I say all the time. Think for yourself critically and don't believe everything I say. Maybe I say stuff that is not true. What kind of a faith do you have in people that are watching my stream? Do you think they're just chewing everything I say? If that was truly the case, then we wouldn't be 50 people here. We would be thousands of people. Everybody would have already applied because that's always what I say. People obviously think for themselves. And I bring a show, real talk. Do I have to really, defend every single topic, every single standpoint that I take for the sake of, gymnastic or whatever? I like to think. I like to think about taboos. I like to be challenged. And that's the thing. I change my opinion all the time. So if it comes about these emotional manipulative machines or whatever, like I would love to, to get challenged. And I do know that it's not that simple. Like you're putting it in that context because, you take it out of context again, but hey, nothing is new here. But like on top of that, when it comes down to that, like I don't think they're just emotional manipulation machines. And I wouldn't even call it manipulation. I would just say they have been evolved way more to be emotionally capable of being able to get what they want. And that's how it works. And that is because that's what I've been told. And is there anything wrong to throw that out there and read people's comments and debate about it? Are you going to tell me what topics I can or cannot debate? Like it just makes absolutely no sense. The way you're trying to portray me as misogynistic ain't going to fly either. Every single girl here would vow against it. And even I think all girls except one, the one that scammed me, would say the same. They would say I treat them with respect more than anything. So like, don't try to put these things out of context, honestly, because it's not in line with reality, and it won't fly either. I actually wonder what you're gonna do, by the way, with the docu. Are you going to just make all these quotes and not even give me the ability to respond? I see you do that, man. Oh man, if you do any kind of defamation or whatever, like I will not just sit by and do nothing. I will actually respond to that and make sure that people know what you're trying to do, because it's such a misinformation. It's crazy. But I think at this point, I don't even know if it's needed. I think people already know what kind of a journalist you are. So keep going. Like, what's your next thing you want to say?
I just want to say that I am giving you an opportunity to respond to this.
Well,
this
are you going to add it to your piece?
We are going to look at the whole thing and see what is.
So you're not going to try to change the piece to make me look like a misogynistic guy saying the stuff in Discord, and then well, that's what you're going to do.
You're talking over me slightly here. We haven't actually started on putting our piece together. This interview is a part of that. I'm just simply asking you: are those comments that you said, in your view, sexist, and do you think you have a responsibility, given the audience that you have, to be careful when you say things like that? I've given you the chance to respond to them.
Yeah, and I did respond to it in full context, and I wonder if you're going to give that context in your documentary, or if you're just going to put that and say, we asked him to respond, but he was just like trying to justify it.
I think that we are recording this, both of us are recording this conversation. We're doing the most we can here to be as transparent as possible about the interview.
But the thing is, you got to understand, if you come out with a piece and take things out of context, you know how it works. These things spread, and before you can even get to it, it's already like the damage is done. So do you think that everybody's just going to look at the both parts? That's not how the internet works. Like, things live their own life. Do you know how much, Hillary Clinton during the campaign with fake Facebook ads has lost support, and people sharing stuff that was just not true? The entire Pizzagate, you know about that? So did they listen to the other side? It doesn't work like that, and you know that very well. You have a responsibility to represent the facts the way they are, and if you want to say you're a journalist with integrity, that's what you do. And you have a very good view. You see what I'm doing, and you keep trying. You keep trying to make it personal. You know what you're saying is just a hit piece. You know it. You're fully aware of that. How can you keep talking and pretending that that's not the case? How can you stand here and just, assume like, yeah, I'm actually being really, honest about what I literally debunk everything. Reese is here. He debunks everything. And still you're taking quotes, try to take them out of context. What's your problem, man? Like, you're really so hard after, like, if you really want to make a hit piece, can't you just pick someone, that doesn't raise so much money for the kids? At least the damage that it does, even there, you shouldn't be doing it. You should just not be doing this, man. But hey, whatever. What's your next thing? I know where this is going in terms of like your hit piece, but it's fine, man. I just hope you will have the integrity to present the truth without your biased lens, as people can see here. This text, right, that you try to contextualize your entire attitude in this interview shows that's just, you just think I'm a bad guy. You think I'm a baddie. Do you think I'm a bad person?
I'm just asking questions.
But can I ask you a question? Do you think I'm a bad person, Chris?
I think, given that you've already mentioned the threat of defamation, I'm not here to make statements about you. I'm here to ask questions.
But can you just answer this one question? Do you think I'm a bad person, Chris?
I don't know. That's why I want to ask you these questions.
So when you sent that to, didn't think I was a bad person?
I've already explained the context of this. I'm going to move on to my next question here because I haven't had a chance to speak in a little while.
Sure, go
Okay,
ahead.
so let's move on to neurospinozism. I'm a little confused about this topic, given that initially I heard you talk about how you wanted to establish the group as a charity but couldn't, so you created a religion instead.
I didn't. Reese did. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, sorry, yeah, Reese created the religion, but as a group, I mean that. So that sort of makes it sound like a loophole or something. But if you go on your website,
loophole?
as in you wanted to create a charity but couldn't, so you created a religion
But
instead.
that's not a loophole. Like this is what you're doing right now. This is proper defamation. This is not loophole at all. Like people come over here and follow, their understanding in reality to put it into practice, and that's what they believe in. This is literally like there is nothing we did that is against the law. It's perfect. Actually, a religion is more fitting than a charity. But the reason why we didn't want to take a religion to begin with is because we were afraid of the backlash. But a religion is actually more fitting. It's not a loophole. So don't say it's a loophole, man. This is fully legally in order. And it also represents and really reflects in people what they're doing here. People come over here, work, do volunteer work all day long because of their belief. What is that? More than a religion, believing in their ability to have an impact. So don't call it a loophole. So go ahead.
And so do you still believe in clicking then?
Well, the thing is with clicking, with the entire clicking part, I have to say, right, I can admit that I made mistakes. And the way I went really very strong on that one, even though a lot of it was also a show, I could have done it better. Definitely. And I also think that this clicking stuff might have caused, and I already said that as well, even in this building, it caused groups, people saying I was clicking, and you had the non-clickers and the clickers, and we were very, very against that. Like Reese and me, we were very you cannot go and label and group people. But yeah, we realized that this kind of psychological mechanics very quickly result in tribal mechanics and people labeling each other and stuff. And at a certain point, it was quite unhealthy environment in that regards. In retrospect, I would have done things very differently. We tried to really address it as much as we could internally and even on the stream. And we have, since then taken a much more chill approach. But the initial idea of clicking, it's not that I believe it. It's just like something that I think is just real, because there is studies about paradigm shifts and stuff and the ability to initiate it and stuff. It's not just something out of the blue. And but of course the way I went about it was way too binary, and I should have done it in a better way. And in retrospect, it's a lesson I've learned. And that's how life goes. I try to do my best, and I try to learn from the mistakes and keep going.
So on a personal level, do you still consider that you have clicked, though? I guess is what I was asking.
Well, the thing is, though, when it comes down to that, I myself, I don't really think in these kind of concepts. I don't think in clicking or this or that. I just wake up and I do what I gotta do. And my entire life, actually, I've been very cognitive. And when I was a kid, maybe not, obviously, because then you're not that cognitive developed. But as I got into my puberty, I was very cognitive, and there's an entire history for that. But I also think it's because I'm aphantasic. It's something I realized 4 months ago, where I don't think in images. It's a condition that some people have. It's a small percentage of the population that has it, and I think that's what enabled me to be more rational and more cognitive. And I think that's for a big reason why I've always been clear-headed the way I am. So for me, it's always been about what works. I don't really care about clicking or Zen or Buddhism or whatever. Just want good in the world. At the end of the day, reality defines how people live. And so I wouldn't say I'm clicked or I'm not clicked, because the sole idea of identifying with something is already makes no sense, because you just are what you are and accepting that. But for me, it's always been a very big struggle to communicate my state and the way I think to people that watch the stream. And I've tried many different times, like, because you're talking about clicking, but clicking is just one way of saying it. In the past, it was making sense. It's about making sense, It's about having an honest relationship with reality. It's about having honest, like, if you look at the real talks in the podcast, which are online and all available, some of them are really quite harsh, but like, it's just, trying out what works. Some people said it worked, the more aggressive approach. Some people said it didn't. So I've been trying out many different things, but it's just about having an honest relationship with yourself and just doing what is right, and that's it. And you can call it whatever. I wouldn't label it in any shape or form unless it helps. If it helps people, I would say, yeah, like, whatever. If it doesn't help people, then also whatever. Like, but the sole idea of identifying with these things makes not so much sense, to be honest.
Okay, so I noticed on your site, Logic Nation, which is partly used to direct people towards coming to work with you and trying to make the world a better place.
Like the logicnation.org was something we created many years ago during the Click era, but since then it's not even like the traffic there is almost nothing. Nobody goes there. Actually, when I direct people, it's to my podcast, not even Logic Nation.
Well, clearly you did use it at one point in a more substantial way, and it is still live at the moment. I noticed that on the front page of the site, there's an infographic that talks about the benefits of clicking, one of them being that your social anxiety or depression will gradually fade away, which will naturally improve your ability to find a partner. And elsewhere on the site, it says you'll be able to overcome addictions with ease, including a lack of desire to take drugs anymore as you achieve the state you were using them for. Do you think those statements are true?
Well, I think at the time, based on our, because we had quite a big sample, right? We had a lot of people saying these things. And that's why we wrote it down, because we were like, oh yeah, these people are really, having a good time. Like, it's having a really good effect, positive effect. Since then, a lot of people have, what do you call it? Fallen back, right? To their previous habits. But we have never really even put the time and effort in updating that page, because nobody visits it. And the reason why it's still up there is because we don't want to hide it away. We don't want to remove evidence or whatever. Like, we don't care. Like, this was a certain period in our time, and that's it. So there are certain claims there that are definitely not representative with reality. And that is also why I'm not, in any shape or form telling people to go there. People can, people that are watching the stream right now can testify to that. If I say, like, to check something out, check out the podcast, this logicnation.org is just like an old website, and that's all. So some things, there's quite some things there that is not accurate. Same with, like, some videos we put up on our YouTube channel since then have also been changed, certain claims I made. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm still interested in that site because you did use it in a much more substantial way at one point. And as I said, it still is up without any disclaimers about the fact that you may have moved on from that. Having read through the testimonials on Logic Nation from people who have clicked, we found that something like 45% of the people mentioned that clicking can be the solution to either anxiety, depression, social isolation, or low self-esteem. In some cases, they'd mention all four of those things. I'm wondering, are you concerned at all that people who read those testimonials could be led to believe that clicking is the cure to their, like, mental health issues rather than going to seek a professional?
That's a long stretch, but hey, I'll answer your question. I mean, it's people testimonies. I didn't even check them. If people just go on a forum and talk about these things, what are you gonna say? You say, like, hey, are you taking away their? I mean, there's so much stuff out there about crystals or whatever the fuck. Like, people have the right to say what their own experience is. So if you want to address this, you should address it to each single one of these people that has been testifying. I guess it's been a big source of you to know also who came over to contact them. We don't try to hide it. I mean, like, some people go through certain phases in their lives, and I mean, I'm not saying, like, hey, you shouldn't, like, even when it comes down to the stream, I always clearly state that that people should, like, when it comes down to, like, that I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, even when it comes down to depression. I do know that even when it comes down to depression, there's a big part in depression that has to do with, social validation and stuff. But there's also a part that is serious, where people literally have a chemical imbalance and such, and these things have to be taken serious. And it's important to find the root, to find the symptoms. But if not, you can always, check out with professionals. But even then, it's important for people to be aware that even checking with professionals will not always be the answer. If that was the case, then obviously everybody would be cured of depression and we wouldn't have the issue. It's like sometimes, people have to also find a solution within themselves. And as far as I know, when it comes down to depression and people with depression cases, a lot of the times it's it's a realization. It's a way where they take their life into hands that has made the biggest impact. Of course, I just try to inspire and help people out, and I also know it's a big part, lack of purpose, lack of meaning, and also the society and people feeling very lonely. And I try to address these topics, even though they're hard. I address them on the stream. And I bet you can, you can take one thing or another thing or many things out of context to make it sound like depression is not a serious thing. But I can tell you, depression is serious. Although I do think in quite some cases, it's not just. It's also used as an excuse. So it's not just oh yeah. Everyone that says they're depressed, it's really serious. It's also being used as an excuse, but I also know people that are seriously depressed, and it's important to also know that you have to have this honest dialogue, so people are aware of the entire spectrum. Because I don't like to just go oh yeah, I'm depressed, and now suddenly whoa, all hands on deck. It's important to also contextualize these things and see how you can properly help people. And the truth is one of the best remedies that I know when it comes down to these things, finding the truth, finding the cause. So yeah, when you say oh yeah, people reading this testimony, no monies and stuff, I mean it's what people said. I mean, I was not even involved so much in that website. I wrote part of it and that's it. Most of these things, I mean, it's really, there's a lot of stuff happening in here. And also at that time, with Logic Nation, it was very decentralized. This place was very decentralized. There were some people working on their own poker stuff where they, had some, I don't know, they were working on certain tools and shit. I told them, don't do anything illegal, but I don't even fucking know what they were doing. There were people working on website about psychology and how to help people through love. There were people that were working on the logicnation.org. There were people that were working on even going to places to talk to people and stuff. I didn't know what was happening, and Logic Nation was a project of a few people. So, I mean, like I said, it comes back to the bottom. I'm not the boss. It's you're trying to make it sound like I'm the one that is, controlling everything. It's not like that. I'm just doing my stuff, and if you want to talk to the boss, you talk to Reese.
Okay. So you mentioned that, yeah, some of the stuff on Logic Nation, isn't necessarily related to you. But here's a quote from episode 75 of your Real Talk podcast, in which you said, people can come over here. We have the building. We can provide everything. People can come over here, work with us to change the fucking world. The first thing, obviously, is spreading the awareness, because when people have this awareness, they just start working and making a difference and having an impact. And the funny thing, you feel more stable and more in balance with yourself than ever. If you are depressed, depression is gone. You know depression, you deserve depression. After knowing this, you deserve it, because depression is merely you being attached to how you feel and your own experience. If you chase your own experience, knowing that it kills people, you're in action, then maybe you do deserve it. That is an example of you yourself having talked about depression and speaking as what sounds to be almost an authority there about other people's mental health.
It's actually...
I just wondered, you said that, maybe Logic Nation maybe needs updating and you weren't so involved with it. But here's an example of you literally saying to people, if they come and work with you, their depression will be gone.
But I want to ask you a question, right? Just out of curiosity. Do you think I'm the one editing these podcasts and approving them?
I have no idea how that works. I'm just asking you about something you have said here.
No. You're asking about something that has been edited in a podcast by someone here. That's what you're talking about.
Okay.
So you don't even know the full context.
Sure. Well, then what is that context?
Well, I'm not even talking about depression as a whole in that regards. And even when it comes down to the very aggressive approach during the click, which I already talked about before, I was way too aggressive in the way I expressed myself, because I compared it to how the inaction of people. I compared that to a kid in the basement that is in your basement, and you need to find the key to open the door. and you're playing video games, do you feel like finding the key? And people say like, yeah, obviously, because, you know, else I'm responsible. So like, okay, like what if it's very uncomfortable to find that key? What would you do? And it was in that context where, you know, like if you find it that inaction makes you, you know, responsible for that kid dying, then what is the difference with a kid in Africa where you going out of your comfort can save it? And that's the thing with Real Talk. Real Talk is a very confrontational show that makes people reflect and question certain ethical things. And if you even go to Destiny's, you know, stream, he can also sometimes say things that are very controversial. And a lot of this...
Okay, but I'm not talking about either Reese or Destiny. I'm talking about something that you said here, which is if you're depressed, depression is gone, you know depression, you deserve depression. That is a very blatant set of sentences that I'm asking, like, do you think you have the authority to say that?
No, what I would say is that, like, this... I need to hear the full context of the VOD, because there is no part in me that actually believes that.
Okay.
So I would like to see the full context of that VOD so I can hear the context, so I can give you a proper answer. Because, like I said, these things are just being edited, and people that are here, you know, like they don't get instructions how to edit. It might as well just be a viewer. And if you go around and you check out VODs on YouTube, there is stuff there that I say that sounds absolutely insane. It's like the part where I say like, oh yeah, I don't care about kids dying in Africa. That actually was part of the reason why I got banned. And then afterwards I had a lot more context. If someone here is editing a podcast and he hears some or doesn't see something is very structured afterwards, they just cut it out. So I would like to hear the full context to give you a proper answer to this question. And it's not deflecting at all. Like, I obviously do not believe that, you know, people deserve this depression at all, because it's really serious. And I would like to, you know the full context so I can give you a proper answer, because I'm not the kind of guy that, you know, that likes to wiggle around or whatever. Not that kind of guy. Not that kind of guy at all.
So are you saying the full context within the podcast that was published, or the full context within the podcast before it was edited?
No, like I want to see the full podcast where I said it, to know what came before and what came after.
I thought I gave you quite a long quote there, to be honest.
No, but that is in the podcast. The podcast is heavily edited.
Okay,
it's like 5 hours turned into 20 minutes. I mean, like, I need to know the entire context.
Well, okay, I guess to keep it more general then, do you think you have a responsibility to be careful with the things that you say in these podcasts, or the way that they end up being published to the public? Because there are people listening. Some of them will have depression and will be looking to you
some people
this as an answer.
The people that would have depression and watch my streams, I do believe that I have helped quite some people with depression. Of course, you will also have people that say that maybe cause depression, but it's very hard for me. I just have good intent. I do a Real Talk podcast, and yeah, sometimes I say stuff that maybe can push people to one end or to another end, but I always have the best intent. And when it comes down to these things, I would say that if people don't like the show, they just don't check it out. It's a controversial topics where I talk, and I'm very very real, very hard, and I say stuff that can be sometimes very controversial, but at the same time, I'm always open to be challenged. And do I have a responsibility towards my viewers when I do Real Talk? Well, I got to be careful, of course, but I would say the most carefulness comes from the political correct climate that we come from, rather than what I say, because I think when it comes down to what I say and Real Talk, I think I should be able to discuss any topics I would like to discuss, and be confronted by any inaccuracies, just like now during the stream. I mean, like I think this is okay. I mean, it's okay that you try to find flaws in what I say, and these things should be able to be discussed just as much as you bring it up and you quote it. You can quote it, you can talk about it, I can respond. There's nothing wrong about it, and I think this discourse should be able to be there. Definitely when it's done with an intent to learn, to grow, and to do good in the world. Of course, you can start questioning when it's about censorship or hate speech or whatever, what the ripple effects are in there. But when it comes down to my Real Talk podcast, I've literally have, what is it, maybe what is it, like 500 hours of podcast, and this is the quote you can take out of it. Like, obviously, if you've listened to all the podcasts, you know my intent. You should know me better than anyone, and you know what you're doing. It's quite funny, but hey, maybe there's some other quotes that you can throw at me. Give it. Is there anything else on the
I just want to pick up on something you just said during the answer. You said that you've helped some people with depression, you think, that have listened to the podcast, but you've also, some people might have had their depression caused by your podcast. Is that what you said?
No, what I said is that I might have helped people with the depression, but I also might have made it worse. I don't know. Who am I to make the claim and say everybody that listens to me will just be better off? I can't say that, because there's definitely people I know, even in the chat, that said that I really fucked with their head. But that has, even in that regards, that has more to do with the inner conflict that is caused because of the reality of how shitty the world is, and their inability or their inaction, rather than what I say, or rather me saying it. Because a lot of internal conflict has to do with the extent to which your worldview makes sense. And then when there's this guy on the internet that is talking how much difference you can make and how you can save lives and stuff, and you're just playing video games all day, I'm quite sure certain people might have caused quite some inner conflict, but it's never been my goal to cause the inner conflict. My goal is for people to just be inspired to do good in the world, and that's it. So I'm not going to be the one stating that I've only helped people. I definitely think there's been people that have been negatively affected by my talks, and I'm sorry for that. I that's not my intent, but it's just like, it's part of reaching a big audience. It's almost like it's very hard to do good for everyone. And if I could, let me know how, and I'll do it. If I can really inspire people to do good in the world and everything, and take a different approach, I would gladly adopt it, because I'm just trying to do what works. And I've had stages in the way I come across that were much more harsh. I would even say, on a certain level, even bully. I would gladly admit that years ago during the click period, and I've come a long way, and I've learned from these mistakes, and I've become a lot better at expressing myself and being moderate. So.
You just mentioned that you've had people even in the chat saying that you've messed with their head, but then you went on to, by the sounds of it, sort of blame it on them. Do you not feel that you have a responsibility to be careful with the words that you use and the way that you talk to this audience, if you have the capability of messing with someone's head that's listening to you?
Well, the thing is, though, like, if I was able to go inside people's heads and help them, then I would definitely do that. Like, for me, I don't want people in any shape or form to be worse off after they saw what I have to say compared to before. And the thing is, like, it's very hard for me to find the perfect balance, because everybody has their own configuration, their own experience, their own traumas, and it's very hard for me to navigate in a way that everybody would grow from the talks. But of course, like, when it comes down to the real talk I do, I'm very focused on the misery in the world, and I'm very focused on saving lives. So I would, like, when you ask this question to me, the best answer I can give you is the one where, like, if I would know better on how to go about things, I would do it. So, like, of course, I'm very aware and do my best. But secondly, what is also very important is to see the bigger context, where what is it that I'm actually doing? What is it that I'm contributing to the world? And when you see my actual actions and the amount of, and I'm not using this as a justification, I'm just giving it context. If you're talking about, like, harming people, right, then the one that is doing the most harm is you. I mean, you're literally trying to cancel me, going really out of your way to find little quotes left and right, while I'm literally, reaching millions of kids. So if it's about caring about people's lives, I think what you are doing is a lot worse than me saying stuff maybe not in the right words at the right time, and someone that is watching the stream voluntarily might being hurt by it. Like what you're trying to do is you're trying to cancel one of the biggest philanthropists on the internet, and then you're trying to talk about caring about people. Like seriously, man, I'm much more balanced and much more thought through about my actions and its consequences than you are. And everything, this entire talk, everything people see is a nice proof of that. So yeah, like you can keep quoting certain things out of my past, 10 years I was on the internet, and try to twist things around. But if you truly care and you listen to all the people that have actually talked to you and talked about the place, you know that you are just making things up. You know it, and you keep doing it. It's so fascinating. It's like, and then you're trying to have the moral high ground or something. It's so fascinating. Like, man, what you're doing is not cool. And I do my best, and I've made mistakes, definitely. But man, like I've never made a mistake with the full intent to do harm, and that's what you're doing right now. You know what you're doing, and you keep going. Like if I would know that I hurt people with what I say, I would change the way I go about things. If I would know a better way to express myself, I would adapt, I would change. And that's why I can also admit my mistakes. Like, but in your case, you just don't care. You just keep going. So yeah, go ahead.
I don't think you actually answered my question, which was, you've said that people in your chat have said that, you could mess with their head. And I asked you, do you think you have a responsibility to like be careful with the words you use if that's the case? I never actually heard a real answer to that question. Like yes or no, do you think you have a responsibility?
I did answer your question very clearly. I said if I know that I can do things better, I will do so. I clearly say it. Like the responsibility of how people feel in the chat, that's a bit of a stretch, because like I don't know how, like am I responsible for how people interpret the stuff I say? It's a slippery slope to go there. So like that's why I wouldn't call it being responsible per se. I would rather say that if I have the knowledge of what potential damage I could cause to people, that I would have to internalize it to make sure that I reduce that pain, definitely, and I would do so. And I have been doing so for the past, many years, and that's why my stream and my real talk has evolved quite a bit. The quotes you take are really from streams very long ago. I've really come a long way in the way I come across and the way I express myself, much more warm, much more understanding. So yeah, like I gave an answer to your question. So like it's an actual concrete answer to your question. So if you say like, are you responsible? It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just trying to do my best. Like, if someone, feels a certain way because I said certain thing, because it triggered them because of their past experiences, am I responsible for that? I think that's a very big stretch.
Okay. We noticed recently that your Logic Nation site actually went down for a little while and then has reappeared in the last day or two, I think.
Yeah.
Could you talk to me about some of the changes that have been made on that site?
You know why I'm laughing? Do you want to know why?
Sure.
These are purpose 2 talking points. It's like the decentralized compound, like hating talking points that they fed you, and you're just saying them here. Actually, there is no changes. Everything is in there. You can go check it out. It's a perfect copy.
So if we use webarchive.org and access an earlier version of the site, you can see that there is a link missing of examples of emotional videos.
Oh, yeah? Can people go to that website and see if that's the case?
If we go to webarchive.org.
No, like go to logicnation.org and see if it's there.
No, I'm asking about the changes that have been made. So that used to be on the site, and now it's not, is what I'm saying. I'm asking...
Is that the case?
Yeah.
Well, I can go to logicnation.org.
I think you're missing what I'm asking here. That has been changed since clearly over the last few weeks that site has been altered. I'm asking, why was that part of the website removed?
That part of the website is not removed, bro. Go check out the website. But hey.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, so so here is a list of videos that include innocent children in Syria bombed to death while playing. A father finds his children among the dead. Father crying over his dead daughter bombed by Israel. These kind of things. That has been used seemingly to help people click. And it's still on the site. It doesn't have any disclaimer along with it.
Like the entire click stuff, that's music from 2 or 3 years ago. We don't use any of that shit.
then why is the website still up? And why, if so you said that maybe you want to keep it up so it looks like you don't want to look like you're hiding anything.
Yes.
Why is there no disclaimer on the site saying, hey, this stuff might not be real? Because people can clearly still find it.
Because nobody's visiting it. You're the one that's visiting it because of the Purpose 2 compound saying like, hey, there is a fire, hey, like nobody's visiting that website. We have statistics. Like, if nobody visits it, why would we even put resources in these things? And what would happen? People would just think like, hey, you're trying to hide it. Even if we would remove it, you tried to take me on removing it. Now you see it there, and now you say like, where's the disclaimer? It's so like seriously.
So it was removed temporarily, and that's why I asked that.
No, that's not true. What happened was since the website was down, right? What happened was we had to put it back up, but we didn't have a backup, so we needed to transfer everything, and it was taking a time. There was a guy here working on it, and it took a bit longer. And there was several stages in which they were updating the website, and that part was, he was just looking at all the videos because we didn't have a backup, and that's why we had to do it all manually again, and that's it. So we fixed that, and there was no.
So why was but when the page went back up, it seemed like that was the only link.
No,
that
there was
really
also
missing.
testimonies and the videos were not there initially.
So it was an older version of it was just an older version of the site that hadn't had those things added to it.
No, the thing is that like the testimonies requires a lot of what is it called pacing and stuff, because if you just copy it, like it's very chaotic. It has to be properly structured, and the videos, the actual video links, we didn't have access, so we had to go and look at all the videos. And that was the work that delayed it a little bit, but it's all there.
So how do you feel about those videos being on the sites?
I think it's good.
Even though it's linking people to some pretty traumatic scenes.
Man, that's the reality. It's like if you go to YouTube and you Google for these videos and you find them, you don't want to see the truth. You don't want to see what is happening out there. You want everything to be cozy. I mean, that's the reality. That's actually happening to kids, and that's what I'm trying to make a difference about. So you're trying to make it about how you feel. How do these people in these videos feel? It's a little bit selfish of you to try and say like, hey, be very careful. I don't want to see, what shit place the world is. Can you just keep me in this little bubble? I mean, like seriously, like people that want to see these things, there's a lot worse things. These videos are actually not that bad as well. They're not that bad. I can show you some videos that are really gore. Well, obviously, like ISIS videos and stuff that are insanely bad. This is more about the emotion that people go through. Every single one of these videos, it's not focused on gore or anything, but it's a reality. And I think it's good that people are aware of these things, because it basically makes them more aware of the change they can have in other people's lives. So don't try to switch it around and make it how
the site isn't
feel.
Just about showing people reality. It's showing these videos with the intent being that you want these people to click. The people on this site, the whole thing is built around these 4 steps to logic as your new core value, and that you yourself will click. What I'm asking is, do you feel comfortable that those videos are being used to promote what is your ideology?
Well, I wouldn't say it like that. First of all, when it comes down to the click, we have really been moving away from it. I mean, everybody in the chat can testify to that. And like when it comes down to the videos per se, just independently, it's fine to have there. And what we're just trying, when we made the website, what we wanted people to be aware of is, I don't even know what the context is where these videos are being used. I would actually have to check it out, because I'm not even the one that made the website. Let me see. I didn't even go and check it. Let me.
I mean, your religion is referred to as Athenism on this site. Like, you are inherently linked to it. That's why I'm asking you.
How do you mean? Well, the official name of the religion is Neurospinocism.
I know, but on the site it says AKA Athenism. I feel like
the only reason why it's called Athenism on the website is because it creates a lot of extra awareness around it, because people go like, whoa, Athene created a religion. It's just like all PR tricks. That's all. It's not because, like, if you look at the official name of the religion, it's Neurospinocism. There's nothing Athenism towards it. It's just a way so it gets spread on Forsen Reddit or whatever. It's a marketing trick. But let me quickly see in what context that has been used, what you're saying. I would like to know that.
Okay.
Help and guidance, logical knowledge, Athene guides, why thinking probability is good, emotional intelligence guide, examples of emotional videos showing tragedies in the world. Okay, so how is that link connected to you gotta click? Can you tell me that?
I mean,
just
it's
says-
it's 2 paragraphs away from 4 steps to logic as your new core value. Next to it is a 4 simple steps infographic showing how to
Yeah,
click.
But
Like
where does it say you gotta watch the videos to click? Where does it say that?
I mean, it's on a website that is built around clicking. That is the whole purpose of the site.
You can't make that statement. So because the video is about clicking, every single thing there is, a way to make you click. That's a little bit like a very long stretch. This is just for this link has to do with people putting things into context and understanding what is wrong in the world. That's all. Like, this is not connected at all with, watch these and you're gonna click. Like, seriously, man. Like, this is just connected to giving people perspective. It's like if we would put here a video about how animals get slaughtered because vegetarianism or veganism, or plant-based diet is something to consider, right? Are you going to go like, hey, like that video there, like in this is to make you click? It's like, man, seriously, it just gives people perspective. It's a long stretch to try and connect everything to clicking, everything. Every single testimony is also so people can click. I mean, like, people just made these testimonies and we copy pasted them literally from the Reddit. It's like, this is
they're inherently being used as marketing here. They're testimonials of clicking.
No,
like
they're
people
not.
are reading them to understand what clicking is like.
But this
I don't
is not
understand
about
how on a website about clicking,
But
this
not
stuff isn't related to
but
it.
the thing is, like, that's the thing. You're trying to turn it into a conspiracy where we try to make people click and all that stuff. Like, these things, right, are very decentralized. It is not me going around and trying to direct it all. So is it a conspiracy now? Now we as a group are trying to make other people click? I mean, all my viewers have, like, the entire clicking part is just passé. It's old news, bro. It's like, go and ask my entire chat. Every single one of them can testify. I don't talk about the click anymore. You're literally trying to fish, very hard because you can't find anything.
But you did at one point, and that doesn't mean that you aren't also responsible for that. Like the neurospinozism is referred to as like AKA Athenism on this site. Like it seems
But I
kind
already
of
explained
wild to me that you are completely distancing yourself from what's on this,
But
what is on the site and how it's
I'm
used.
not completely distanciating myself about this. You're just trying to put things into my mouth and making it black and white. The reason why we called it Athenism, it was a very strategic move because it creates people to talk about it. That's it. And when it comes down to the website and all the testimonials and stuff, it's all decentralized. Was not even my project. It's like you got to understand, like, you have all these crazy ideas and conspiracies. If you would come over here and you would see how things goes, it's very chillax. I mean, everybody has their own thing. You think, like, I had time to even make that website? Like, people were putting stuff here all the time. I have no clue. There's a lot of shit like this link about, emotional videos of showing tragedies in the world. Do you know I didn't even know it was there on the website? I wasn't even aware of it.
So you don't believe that you're responsible for what's on
No, not
on this
at all.
site?
No, not at all. No.
Okay.
No way. I don't. It's not that I don't believe. It's just I am not responsible. I mean, I didn't even make it. People added all that stuff together, going saying like, "Oh, Athene, you did all of this." No, I didn't, man. The only part that I did was I wrote the making sense part. That's it. That's a quote from my book, Real Answers. That's it. I wasn't even involved in the website. I didn't even read it.
Okay. I wanted to move on now to a couple of quotes from earlier this year on your Real Talk podcast, where you're talking about Save the Children. And the first quote is, well, the only reason why I raise money for Save the Children is because it gets multiplied by 10 and because it allows me to just talk about it as much as I want because I'm saving kids. So like a lot of it is brand as well. I'm just saying it. I'm not lying about it. It's like if I say that I raise more than $23 million for children in need, that gets me a lot more people to actually be interested in what I have to say. And then there's another quote from a stream this month, which is, it's something that nobody can criticize. Saving kids' lives, it's hard to argue with that one. So Save the Children is merely a tool. Saving lives is merely a tool to achieve the goal. The most important thing when it comes down to having the biggest impact is to organize yourself, to have like-minded people around you. This is by far the most important thing. So my question based on those two quotes is that you mentioned, like, in both these occasions that Save the Children is a tool for you and a way to build a larger audience. Does that mean, as well as like getting people interested in your other altruistic projects, you're also using the charity here as a marketing tool to get people to listen to your philosophy, your ethics, your ideology, that kind of thing.
Well, no, that's not true. I'm not using it as a tool for people to listen to me. For me, it's like it's a tool because what it's about moving humanity forward in the most effective manner. And there's many ways of doing that. Like you can do research in cancer, you can research in AI. So what do you concretely do? But even before getting there, it's important to have a group in order to be able to delegate tasks, because I'm by myself, I can't do all these things. And that's what I meant. So you probably misunderstood what I meant. Like everything we do is a tool relative to helping humanity move forward, including saving lives, including, save the children, including even what I say. But the most important thing is finding like-minded people and organize yourself so you can delegate, like, okay, these people can work on, machine learning, these people can work on saving lives, these people can working on that. So like, because by yourself, you can't do almost anything. So that's the thing. Like when I say tool, it is relative to the actual goal of helping humanity move forward. And even there, you could argue, like, what do you mean? Like, because at one point we won't even be humanity anymore. I mean, if we merge with technology, then what is it? Then we just drop everything? No, it's about literally moving forward as life itself in the most common sense. And in that regard, everything is a tool. I mean, even my life, my own existence is a tool for life to move forward, and that's it. And anything else is just some identity conditioned, flawed beliefs. I mean, we're just part of something bigger. And we just try to align with reality and move forward, and that's all. So it has, like, even my thoughts, my ideology, I wouldn't even call it ideologies, because even when I say these things, I mean, I say, like, people should think for themselves. Actually, all the stuff that I say is quite common sense, a lot of it. So sometimes I'm baffled that I even have to say the things that I say, but at the end of the day, it's about action. It's not so much about what I say, it's about what people do. And we've become also a lot more action-oriented. That's why I don't even care about the click, because the click was very mindset-oriented. It doesn't work. What works way better is action orientation. And in that regards, it is about, organizing yourself and in a decentralized manner, not in a centralized one. Because a centralized one, what if it's built all around me, hypothetically? What if I die, then what? So it has to be decentralized and be able to scale.
Okay. So moving on to the way in which your group is actually structured, just as a side question, why did you opt to recruit volunteers rather than having sort of paid employees in the very early days?
The main reason why is because intent. Like, it's about doing good in the world because you care about doing good in the world. And when money is involved, based on my own experience, even in the past, things can get very, very wonky. And it makes sure that people are really idealistic. Like I myself, for example, right? I'm literally the poorest guy in this entire building. I have nothing. Why? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I so driven, even though I own nothing? Even my phone, right? It's not mine. I borrow it from Reese. So like in that regards, like it's a very powerful way of seeing people's true intent, because if we start throwing money, then you have stuff like Save the Children CEO that is getting paid I don't know how much money, and you get all that stuff, and you got people, coming for the wrong reasons, just taking their paycheck. Right now, we just know when people come over, they have true intent, and that's why religion framework is so powerful, because when you go pray in the church, right, you don't assume to get paid by the priest or anything. It's just a way of expressing your belief and your faith. We just do it in a much more empirical way, where it's measurable and the impact is measurable, and a lot of other religions do it in different ways. So yeah, it's just it's a very powerful framework, because it also attracts people that are financially independent as well. That's it.
Yeah, so to be clear, like you don't want people to come and work for you because they want to get rich. You want them to come work with you because they care about the idea that you're pursuing.
Yes, that is always been the fundamental foundation. Although I have to say that before you start quoting me on it, I do troll around on the stream about getting rich and shit, but that is always in a funny context, because when we get contacted, right, even like what it leads to, sometimes people applying with us really thinking they're just going to get rich here, that stuff gets completely destroyed, that ID in the application process, because we don't want people that come over here because they want to get rich. It doesn't work.
Okay. During a stream last year, you asked about whether it was fair that people worked for you, with you for free. And your response was, when you say coming here working for me for free, do you know that every single person here has, and that is if purpose would be worth $2, has made more money? Like there's people here that have made $1 million. Do you understand that or not? $1 million in 1 year. Pretty good deal. If you could make $1 million in 1 year, would you do it? So where is the working for free? Doesn't that clash with what you just said?
No, not at all. Like if people have pure intent and come with the right reasons, then, if they then manage to build a strong financial independence on top of it, then, good for them. It's not one or the other. It's like when it comes down to me, I just, do stuff completely for free. And I don't need any of that security or financial independence. And even people that came over here, their intent wasn't that either. But it's just to debunk the argument that people say, like, oh, when people come over there is nothing to fall back on. That's not true. Like if you are an organization or like you are a religion or whatever, and people grow and the influence grows, that benefits everybody in the group. And I just want to make that clear, that it's not just like, oh, people come and work for free for me, because that's just not how it is. That just makes no sense. And also when it comes down to that, like I said, if people work for someone, it's for Reese, because I ain't making jack shit. He's taking all the money. So you should ask that question to Reese. Like, hey, how do you feel about everybody working their ass off to fill your bank account?
Yeah, I'm just interested in that. I feel like those two things do clash. You said that you don't want people coming to work for you because they want to like make money, and yet last year you're on a stream saying that some of the people working with you are becoming millionaires. That sounds to me like you're encouraging people to come and live and work with you in order to also become millionaires.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all. That's taken out of context. There's no part of me that wants to attract people because they want to become millionaires, because these people want to shit here anyway. They would just be here and thinking, where's my money? It doesn't work. Like the best way of people working out here is if they are, if they have an idealistic goal, they want to do good in the world. Because man, the amount of people that came over and left, it's crazy. It's like there is no, like we have a really good view on what works and what doesn't work. And when I address these things on the stream, right, it's mainly haters that try to make it sound like everybody here is just, their life is ruined, but that's not true. There's also quite some people that left the place with tons of purpose and are actually using that as a financial independence, and they never got their purpose threatened or whatever it is, because that's also, some people contacted me saying that was the questions you were asking them. It's not like that. People don't get threatened. Like all these stories about crypto that you heard come from this one anonymous source, or this couple that literally stole $20,000 from us, and that's it. They just make shit up. But yeah, like it's not like that. I don't try to get people here to make them rich. Of course, if they want to get into purpose or whatever, that's up to them. If they believe in the project. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm just looking at the numbers and making people aware of it. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not saying people, hey, come here and become a millionaire. But yeah, people that trusted the place and went with it, they are doing really well. I mean, that's just a fact. It's just my way of responding to people making these kind of claims on this chat.
Okay. Earlier that same month on another stream, you said this in relation to the cryptocurrencies. First of all, the only reason why Purpose and Doobie has any value is because of us. We can hard fork it whenever we want, and we can choose who gets what. We're always in control. You might say, Athene, I don't like that. It is what it is. And if people act cocky, I can just remove them. That sounds...
What was the last thing?
And if people act cocky, I can just remove them.
What? Can you go even further?
So it says, first of all, the only reason why Purpose and Doobie has any value is because of us. We can hard fork it whenever we want, and we can choose who gets what. We're always in control. You might say, Athene, I don't like that. It is what it is. And if people act cocky, I can just remove them.
That is definitely that people are cocky, I can just remove them. What came after that?
I'm not entirely sure. Do you want me to give you the source for that?
I would like to know, because we don't remove people for being cocky. That's not the case. I said probably if people are cocky or whatever, you can just sell your purpose.
Okay, so it was
what
on
Mr.
a Athene
said.
live stream on the 12th of March 2018. I don't actually have a timestamp here, so I don't know if anyone will be able to
I
find
told
that.
people to just sell it.
Let me see. One second. Let me see if I can play that for you.
In the context of crypto whales.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So I think you were talking about people in the that have invested in the cryptocurrency within the chat.
No. What was the context?
Again, let me find the. Later on, there's a quote from you where you say, I will tell you guys something else, by the way, because I told them in the end of the day, we're in control, we can hard fork or whatever. And Reese says, true that. You also say, I don't even need to hard fork. You might say, like, why? Because I have 1 billion purpose. I can increase every purpose by 100, except the people I don't like. Do you understand that? Buy wall goes from 250 to 2.5.
Damn straight. Okay, there you
Nothing
go.
else has to change.
But
Everyone can just go and claim.
Okay, let's go. Okay, I get the context.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because, the point I'm trying to make is if people don't trust me, then holding crypto won't do shit because I can do whatever. I can remove people, I can dilute it, I can do whatever I want. So at the end of the day, it is about trust. That's the point I was trying to make. I knew there was something taken out of context. It's about the fact that if you go into a coin or whatever, or crypto, and you don't trust the people that are behind it, then why do you get into it to begin with? Because the value is only provided by what people do here. And it doesn't matter. I'm like the place. I talk in the me form, but it's actually the people here. If we discuss and we decide, we could literally, dilute everyone and do whatever the fuck. So it is at the end of the day a relationship, a trust relationship, and the coin itself has no value. So that's what I meant. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
I knew it. I like to hear these things because I was like, what is that? If you just quote me like that, it sounds like that I'm threatening people. But no. It was just to make a point that if people don't trust me, I can do whatever the fuck I want anyway.
So
and obviously I'm not doing that.
Would that not mean then, if you did have a problem with someone in your group who is potentially a crypto millionaire because of purpose, doesn't that mean that you could affect their fortune if you wanted to? You could make it worthless. Isn't that what you're saying here? That you have control over that?
It's not possible, and let me tell you why. Because it's not me that is running the show. Like these things, like even this fork, right, was discussed by many people. Like you got to know these things get integrated, get implemented. Other people have to do it. I'm not the one that is in control of all the website, the decentralized exchange and all that stuff. Like these decisions are made collectively. And if I go around and say like, oh, let's fork that guy because I don't like him, or fork that guy because I don't like him, then it would collapse. Like it doesn't even work. People would just say, fuck you. Reese would tell me like, fuck off. He would just say like, he would just send me away. That's the thing. That's where a lot of stuff that you say doesn't make sense. I'm not the one that is a dictator in this place. Like
so you're saying that Reese could do that if he felt that way towards someone.
No,
if he wanted to punish someone, he could.
No, he wouldn't be able to do so either because he needs approval from the people that are, making the website and stuff. He's not going around. Everybody's volunteer here. There is no like hierarchy where the boss says to people, you do that, and the guy goes like, yeah, everybody's self-critical thinking. If you go to someone and say like, let's fork that guy out, he will say, why? Why? Why do I have to fork him out? I'm not going to start working on that. If I go downstairs and I say like, let's go and, make something illegal or whatever, you think they would just go like, yes, master? No, they would say, the fuck, are you crazy? I don't want to put myself in problem. That's the thing. That's what you don't understand. Like this place is decentralized. There is no like one guy going around and calling the shots. And if you would be here, you would see that. You would see that with your own eyes. And instead of making these kind of, allegations, they would be much more moderate and you would have a much better understanding how the place works rather than sending these messages to people, making it sound like I'm manipulating all the young people here. Like these people wouldn't do it. They would not do it. But the thing is what Steve did, right? Because that's the anonymous source you're talking about. He literally scammed us for $20,000. And there's evidence of that. Even on the blockchain, it's beautiful. We can literally show you. When you're here, we can show you the proof. So you can check it out for yourself. It's like, he just robbed us. Like, if we get robbed by 20K and I go down, like, and Reese go downstairs and say, like, hey, let's fork him out. They go like, why? Literally, 3 people said why immediately. He stole 20K. They were like, what the fuck? I don't believe it. We show the evidence. Holy shit.
So Steve is someone that used to be a volunteer with you guys, and so left at some point. You're claiming that he stole this money, and then
Claiming? I have proof.
So what? Could you talk me through it now? Like you mentioned the evidence. What was the, like? How do you know that he stole it? How do you define steal in this case? Like, what happened?
Okay, so we have logs, right? Skype logs where he actually says that he's going to pay us back. And then we keep asking and nothing anymore. And you see on the blockchain, you can follow every transaction, his address, selling all his doobie into the buy wall, taking the ether, which is still on his address, by the way. We have all that evidence. And we can just give it to you.
I'm not a crypto expert here, so sort of layman terms.
Maybe
like how.
Okay,
how,
wait. I want to say something. You're not a crypto expert yet. You don't mind claiming in the mail that I'm using crypto to, to what is it, to blackmail people or whatever, and you're not a crypto expert. Maybe you should read up on it before you make these claims. Sending it to people. Don't you think so? You should do a little bit of research.
I'm seeing quotes from you. I'm seeing quotes from you that say, first of all, the only reason why Purpose and Doobie has any value is because of us. We can hard fork it whenever we want, and we can choose who gets what. We're always in control. You might say, Athene, I don't like that. It is what it is. And if people act cocky, I can just remove them. That to me suggests that you could do that. No. You could remove someone's cryptocurrency. You've just said that yourself that you
can't. Like, do you know that nobody, right? Even the people that have that, the original token, they still have it. They are still able to trade it as well, but nobody wants it. Why does nobody want it? Because our projects don't run on it, but they still have it. We've never stolen one purpose from someone because we can't. That's how blockchain works. We just have our own other version, or literally updated version. And if people still want to go and believe in the first one, go ahead. But that's the point that I'm trying to make. If we as a group drop what we are doing, then the coin is worthless. If we don't do the pilot program in Uganda, which we have right now, by the way, just so you know, Doobie pilot program using blockchain, if we don't have all these things, if I don't keep my promise about integrating it in a game and making a game, then what is it? It's just air. And that's my point that I'm trying to make. So when you say like, oh, you can take it, no, you can't. You can't take crypto from someone else. What we can just do is we can make another coin and build on that. And if people still believe in the previous one, then they go ahead with that. And that's also what works sometimes that's also what sometimes happens in the Bitcoin community or the Ethereum community. When there is a fork, there's still like Ethereum original. I don't know if you know Ethereum classic.
But what about this quote here? Just if you could explain it to me. There's a quote where you say, I don't even need to hard fork. You might say like, why? Because I have 1 billion purpose. Yes. I assume you're referring to Reese there. I can increase every purpose by 100 except the people I don't like. Yes. Do you understand that? Buy-wall goes from 250 to 2.5. Nothing else has changed. Yeah. Everybody can just go and claim. And those I don't like, they get wrecked. Can you explain to me how that isn't you being able to manipulate your own cryptocurrency to negatively affect people that you don't like?
The important thing here is context, though. The point that I'm trying to make is if you don't trust me, then don't get involved. And I also said straight after that, I said, sell. If you don't trust me, sell. Please sell. I'd be glad. Like even now, I said, anyone that doesn't trust what we're doing here, go and sell. Go ahead. Go sell. That's all what I'm saying. Go sell. Have fun.
But it's not all that you're saying. Don't also saying those I don't like, they get wrecked. That to me reads like you're threatening people that you don't like.
It's in the context of if you don't trust me, I can do that. That's what I mean. If I can do that, I can literally, go and say I don't like you, I don't like you, I don't like you. Now I just, inflate everything. Like if you are a malicious person that think that I'm not trustable, you should just not get involved. And I'm just trying to make that point super clear by saying that. That's all I'm trying to do. It's a hyperbole. Is hyperbole the right word? It's a hypothetical where people think that I have malicious intent. If I have malicious intent, then you shouldn't get involved. And you should just not even touch it. If you trust what we do, it's another story. Because look what I can do. Look what I'm capable of doing. Because certain people, sometimes they think crypto is safety. They just think like, if I have crypto, nobody can take it away. I'm just making clear that's not the case. I mean, that's just air in your head. You're trusting what we're doing. If you don't trust us, then you shouldn't even get involved to begin with. That's all I'm saying.
If we could talk about the compound itself, how expensive is, the place that you run? I don't know exactly what to call it.
15,000 euros a month.
That's how much it costs to run each month.
To what? To run everything.
Yeah, yes. To like keep it going. Yes. Okay. So on a stream last year, you were talking about your group's finances, and you said, do you know that I'm the top earner on Twitch? Do you realize that or not? I make more money than Ninja. I can make $1 million a month. There's nobody that can make so much money. Of course, yeah, it's with the crypto and stuff. I'm not just focusing on cash at all, because we have enough. We can literally keep this place running for 10 years without having to bring in a dime. Like if it costs $15,000 a month, multiply that by 10 years, that suggests that you have, upwards of $1.5 million set aside to fund this place. I understand, is that bank account, that finance is in Reese's name, right?
Yes.
So does that mean Reese is now a millionaire? Like what is the setup there?
Reese is damn sure a millionaire. Yeah, he is.
And so is that money mostly has been earned through the cryptocurrency projects, right?
Well, it's most of it is crypto, but also we had a lot of donations on my stream, and
but the majority is the
combination of everything. Basically, it's a combination of everything. Our YouTube channel, everything basically. Yeah.
Okay, and those cryptocurrencies were worked on not just by you and Reese, but also everyone on that team.
What do you mean with that?
I guess I'm asking. This money is potentially, it's all with Reese, right? It's under his name, even though
Reese is the guy that gets all the cash.
Mm-hmm.
So in a sense, you could say that he's, if you want to make a baddie about someone, then he's the one, taking advantage of me right now as well, because I'm working my ass off and everything goes to Reese. Everything. Even my poker money, when I earned more than 300K, I gave it all to Reese. So yeah, he's real good. He's real good at. If there is a manipulator in the equation, then he's the mastermind, because he's taking all the cash. I have nothing.
What would be to stop Reese and perhaps yourself from shutting down the whole thing and walking away from it?
Just Reese.
Well, okay. Well, then just Reese. What's to stop Reese from potentially shutting this whole thing down and walking away with what sounds like more than $1.5 million?
Nothing.
Do you think there's a problem with that?
No, it's part of life, man. It's like just part of life. It's like, I would say, if you ask this question, right? And I'm going to give another example. Let's say you have a daughter, right? What stops the father from walking away? I think that's a lot worse than Reese walking away. At the end of the day, it's always about trust and the extent to which you believe in people's good. So yeah, of course it can happen. And it does happen, and it's a lesson learned, and it is what it is, and I just move on. I've already gotten backstabbed many times, but still giving up on the hope of the good in people is still worse for me than getting scammed now and again. And yeah, it can happen. And even lawyers, by the way, because a lot of lawyers, we literally have 6 lawyer firms in 6 different countries. Well, Reese has. Also said, like, but this guy, does he realize that he's getting nothing? And Reese just explains the situation. They think I'm crazy. They think like, but what if you walk away? He has no foot to stand on. And they just say like, yeah, he just, he just keeps doing what he's doing. And that's the thing, like, that's the way I am, man. Like, I just go through life and I believe in the good in people. And that's why, yeah, this can happen and it is what it is. And I'll just, make the best out of it. But in the meantime, I won't regret a single thing I did, because looking back, we've raised more than $25 million for children in need. We've brought people together to work on projects. And we've done a lot of good. And it's just the price I have to pay for in case someone backstabs me. It just is what it is. That's life.
But I guess I'm not just talking about the effect it would have on you. I'm also talking about the, few hundred volunteers that also contributed to this this group over the years.
Well, it's their relationship with Reese. I mean, it's just like with me. I just keep going and do what I believe is right, and they do the same. And if that happens, then it's about the people that manage to stick together after such a thing happens, because it would be a big hit, but it is what it is. See how we come out of it and move on and keep going. So yeah, like it's all there. Like people know it. Everybody that is here knows that I don't have a bank account, that Reese is the money man. Mm-hmm. We even market it as such. So if people have an issue with it, they can always bring it up to Reese, not even to me, because I'm not even the one I'm not even the one that owns any funds, and that's between them and Reese. So yeah.
Would it not be better to have an organization set up where that's not possible? Like, for example, if you were running a charity rather than a religion, the person operating the charity can't walk away with the finances. That's just not legally possible. Whereas your setup has allowed for that. Would it not be in your interest to set something up that makes that an impossibility? That the money, the finances that have been raised belong to the Singularity Group as a whole, like your group as a whole, rather than one individual?
Well, we might move towards that in the future, because right now $1 million is nothing. Like if we have billions, sure, we can move to a more organized setup where there is board members and stuff. But for now, $1 million, seriously, any kind of small project, can raise millions from investors, like $1.5 million. What is that? It's a joke, to be honest, when you talk about a bigger scale. So once things get more serious, we will definitely look into more durable framework and organizations that are future-proof. Because what if tomorrow Reese dies? We're actually all fucked.
I don't understand why you haven't already done that, because clearly your audience has invested a lot of money into your group. Your volunteers have invested their time and their lives into your group. Why is there not already a setup that would prevent Reese from walking away or Reese from dying, like basically crippling your organization?
Because the amount of money that has been raised is not worth going through the hassle and having Reese time to set it up. And
it's easier to set up a religion than to set up an organization that would protect from that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, setting up a religion the way we did it with the setting we have here and the setup was the easiest way to go. Because with charity, right? Just to give you a little insight, we weren't even allowed to do it, because we wanted to start a charity where the money went to save the children, right? Because that's what we mainly do. When it comes down to the cash flow, we actually have very little cash flow. Most of it is just crypto, and cash flow just goes to save the children, and that was not allowed.
I know, but there's $1.5 million here, which might not be a huge amount to you and your bigger projects.
It's crypto,
but it's also going to be what's potentially keeping the lights on in this place. And you're trusting.
That's not true.
You're asking people to trust one person.
Let me tell you something, man. You're talking to Athene. I can do a sellout stream and literally make $10,000 right now.
Okay, well, I just don't understand.
I'm just saying, that's just a theme for you, man. I can raise. When I went to Cherry's stream yesterday, in 5 minutes I made her $100. She just doesn't understand how I do it. I just am very good at milking people for cash. By the way, this is satirical. Making sure, a little disclaimer. I'm just really good. Like 1.5 million is nothing for me, man. I can raise that shit. Even if I have to, I just play poker and make 100K.
But surely it's something to the volunteers that work there, and also to your audience that's invested that funding in the first place. I don't get this reasoning that it's just not worth the hassle. That seems like an irresponsible attitude when you're talking about
that's not true,
more than $1 million.
Because when it comes down to making an organization, right, and looking at these at proper alternatives, this is a lot of setup, man. It's not just like, you go walk to a law firm and they fix it. No, this place is very complicated, and it falls very much outside the system.
Okay, so for now you're just asking people to believe in it and to trust you and to trust Reese.
But the thing is, they just need to trust in the project and in people's intent here. It's not me and Reese, because it's not me and Reese that keeps the place afloat. It's us as an organization, as a group, that keeps this place even able to do anything. If it wasn't for all of us working on this, then it would just be me with Reese in Merksem. It's like, I'm not telling people to trust us. It's about trusting yourself. It's a relationship with yourself, the extent to which you want to do good in the world, and you think there's like-minded people like that where you can work together with them. So it's not so much about trusting me or Reese. They gotta trust in their own willingness to do good and you know, go about it in a way where they put their comfort aside and just put their effort in helping things that are way more important than your own comfort, to put it that way. That's the relationship. It's not the relationship with us. And that's why the place works. I mean, if it was a relationship with me or with Reese, then this place wouldn't work. And then a lot of what you say would be accurate. But I already stated it before and many times. It's decentralized. People here are very mature. There's people that came over here that are successful, that have launched many different games that were, you know, like close to millionaire.
I know, but the money itself that you've raised isn't decentralized. It's centralized in Reese's bank account by the sounds of things. Like, I don't.
The money that I raise. The money that I raise. Because I'm the one raising all the cash. So you're asking this question to me, right?
Yeah, but you're the group that you are working with are all working towards this project. Like,
yeah, but I'm the guy that is raising all the cash, though. It's me.
Sure, with the help of the group that you've set up.
The help of the group. It's my stream. I can go to Merrickson by myself and raise tons of cash.
But you didn't create the cryptocurrency yourself. You just said to me earlier in this interview that it was a whole group project and it requires lots of different people.
Yes.
Like, I'm talking about their role in this, their work,
their contribution, their role. Like, even when it comes down to these things, right? If I would go at home, right, in less than a month, I could replicate everything that actually makes all the cash by myself.
Okay, I don't doubt that you could, but those people have put their work into
like the entire. The exchange and the blockchain part, right, is almost a fraction of a fraction. It was mainly the idea of me that made all the money. It was not so much their work. Same with, like, when it comes down to, like, you know, what people put all their work in is the game, and the game hasn't even come out yet. So when you want to make an argument about people's effort and you know, like, it's not even tangible. There's like,
so when the game does come out, and you've talked about in the past about that potentially.
Yeah, we will have a structure, yes.
Yeah, okay. So by that point, once the game is close to release, the structure will have changed.
We will have definitely a structure, yes.
And that will have a protection in place that if the person at the top wanted to leave, they couldn't ruin it.
Yes.
Okay.
It's something that I also discussed with Reese. It's actually on the high priority list. Once the game comes out, we will also see what is most compatible, what is the best way of going about it, because you say it's just setting it up. That's not true. Like, because there's many countries with app purchases and stuff, like, there's a lot of stuff we have to do. Even setting up the religion was quite a hassle, and that was the easier way, because the charity was even more hassle, but we didn't manage to get through with it. So an organization that is international and everything, that might also include, you know, our philanthropic work has to all really be set up properly, and that is a lot of work. So yeah, we will fix that. Yeah, definitely we will fix that, because I wouldn't feel comfortable with Reese dropping dead tomorrow and then suddenly we're fucked. Like, that just makes zero sense. So yeah, and it will have many people from here in the board. The people that have been here the longest, I think, will just be in the board, and it will be more like structured. But right now, since I'm the one raising all the cash, it's just like, okay, yeah, Reese can run away with the money that I raised, and okay, whatever, then I just do a sellout stream and we're back on track, basically.
Okay, so the cryptocurrency project that you are working with Save the Children on, you mentioned before how you're preparing for a pilot program in countries like Uganda. I remember initially you talked about this pilot program, possibly multiple pilot programs, having launched by Q1 of 2019. Why haven't they launched yet?
Because they're slow. They're slow. They're doing a feasibility study now.
But it
just takes time.
Can you confirm that it is definitely going ahead? There's nothing that could stop it.
Dude, like, you mailed Save the Children, and they even let us know, and they linked to the page, so you know the answer to this question.
So I emailed them in May, and their response was that it was still in the planning stages. And May is obviously past Q1, the end of Q1, I guess.
Yeah, and they linked you to the page.
Yeah, but I'm asking why it hasn't been launched yet.
Because, well, the launch, happens after the feasibility study. So it is in the process. So you first have to do feasibility study to see what is the damage that it could have on the community. Which community do you take? Which network do you work together with? Like, how do you going to measure the benefits of the project? There's a lot of aspects that are very complex to the normal person. They just go like, where's the kids? Where's the money? No. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen in preparation, and these preparation steps are in the go. So,
okay,
what can I say? Like, yeah, it's taking time, but in Q1, we had someone here going to Uganda, though. We had someone here that went to Uganda and talked to people there, so it did get started. But it just takes a long time before the actual money is flowing to these people, because they got to make sure that it doesn't backfire. They got to make sure that there is no tribal tension where suddenly, one tribe goes like, hey, these guys are getting free money, let's go and rob them or whatever. So these are all security reasons that have to be fully researched before you can go about it. And a lot is also measurement. Like measurement, a lot of people don't realize it, but these kind of things require a lot of measurements, and that requires a lot of organization, because if you're in the middle of nowhere, how do you even know how many kids are there, or who are the parents, or whatever? Like, these things, it's very, very remote. And even the governments don't have so much data. It's just all very, very, very ghetto. So, yeah, we're going really to the hardest hit places. So it's not an easy task.
Is there a possibility of those feasibility studies coming back and them saying we won't go ahead with this?
It is possible, but it's unlikely. But it is possible. But even if that happens, right, then we do it ourselves. Because as crazy as it may sound, we have sent someone on the field, and he has been doing a lot of great work. And a lot of what is happening right now is also bureaucratic work. And if it was up to us, we would go about it much faster. We could actually set things up in a few weeks. But of course, we go with Save the Children because they have like the expertise and stuff, and also all the security measures in place. But at the same time, we could pull it off, but it would require us to send multiple people and create quite some connections. And
but wouldn't those feasibility studies have said like, hey, we're the experts here and we're saying you shouldn't do this?
Oh, but the thing is though, like, I don't let myself be defined by other experts. If I would do that, then I wouldn't achieve what I achieve. I mean, I'm a very independent...
But even when you're talking about setting up a universal basic income in a
to me,
country that's very different to like
but the thing is,
where you're living right now. What isn't? I'm just saying, if Save the Children are saying, "Hey, we don't think you should do this," you would go ahead with it anyway.
Well, they would say like it's too big of a risk for them, but I would not believe that it's too big of a risk. And we would just,
That seems crazy.
No, that doesn't.
Like, Save the Children have got years of experience of providing like systems like this, where and maybe not necessarily with cryptocurrency, but with tokens in towns, right?
It's quite funny how you really try harding to try and find something, but like it's important to listen to what I say, because if you listen for it and think for yourself for 5 minutes, you would realize, okay, he makes a good point. Direct cash giving, right, is something that even smaller groups have done in places like Uganda. Actually, in Belgium, there's even an article about it that you can look up, where one guy or two guys went to a local village and gave cash to people there. Without any other bigger charity involved at all, and they managed to get quite a lot of publicity. They have gotten very good results. So don't come tell me and say like, hey, you're only capable of doing what Save the Children does. I mean, when it comes down to doing the impossible, I've proven many times, even towards Save the Children, that I'm capable of doing it. And I'm just a visionary. Like, if Elon Musk would believe experts when it comes down to his vision, he would never, there's a lot of things he wouldn't have done, and because people called him crazy, like the way he does with the rockets and going back on their platforms, and what the amount of progress he has brought to electric cars. Sometimes you need a visionary to push what people think is impossible and make it possible, and that's what I do. And it's not, by the way, about universal basic income. It's about helping extreme poverty areas. Because universal basic income is, it's of course you could say like it is basic income, but universal, that is way too ambitious. I cannot.
Okay, I was just using your own terminology there. I guess the thing I'm asking is like, you're saying that if like Save the Children came to you and said, don't do this, you're saying that you would do it anyway?
No, they will not come to me and say, don't do this. They will just come to me and say, we have evaluated that for us it's too much of a risk to get involved in this project because we don't want the potential backfire. That would be the only reason why they wouldn't do it, because direct cash programs are already ongoing in Uganda. It's nothing new. But of course, since it's blockchain and such, I mean, like, they got to make sure that that nothing, like, because blockchain has quite a bad name in sometimes in the news and stuff, and they care a lot about their brand. So it would be a branding reason more than anything else.
All right, but as far as you know, at the moment, this project, like, they're still looking into it and still could go ahead.
Yeah, damn straight. Yeah. It's also, I think, on the likely spectrum that it will go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm getting towards the end of my questions here. You'll probably be glad to hear.
It's fine, man. You can keep going.
Okay. So you regularly joke about your group and, well, you don't call it the compound apparently, but you joke about that sometimes, being a cult led by yourself. I mean, I saw the stream or part of it on Saturday where you were dressed in robes and having people come in and hug you and give you water, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That was, by the way, a joke, but feel free to cut it and take it out of context because you're on a roll anyway. But it was a joke.
Sorry, I thought I just said that. But why do you joke about that? I'd imagine you don't actually want to be seen.
You want to know why I joke about it? Because when people have a certain opinion, right, about you, then going against it or explaining it doesn't work. They just start believing even more into it. There's even studies about it. So the best way for us to even respond to all these false accusations and allegations is having a good laugh at it. Although I have to say that I have at the same time dialed back a lot in that regards, because it also is what got us banned last time. We were joking so much, saying that we were scammers on the stream and milking people and all that stuff, and people were starting to take it out of context, and VODs, little clips got spread, making it look like we were scamming people in their face, even though if you think about it for 2 seconds, it's absolutely absurd. And that's why we dialed that back a little bit. But the cult thing, it's so obvious that we were like, okay, man, like Nolan came flexing and hugging me. I thought like, okay, maybe that will make it very clear that it's a joke. But even then, it's hard. Even then. And the thing is, like, I would like to do a little bit more satirical jokes left and right. But yeah, I do know that sometimes maybe I overestimate people's ability to trace humor, and it's getting worse and worse. But at the same time, the core of my audience really appreciates this type of, joke, and I always try to do it within the realm of not getting myself banned, because I would like to push it way further, but I can't anymore. It's a shame, but it is what it is.
And what you think you can't because people will just take it out of context?
Yeah, like you are a perfect example. I mean, you're the perfect example why I can't do it anymore. You're the perfect example why I even have to address and have this call. I didn't want to, if we go 5 years back, I wouldn't even have tweeted you. I wouldn't have given you all this time and addressed all your really absurd questions. I wouldn't address it. I would just literally troll the shit out of you. I would just have a laugh with you. But I can't do that anymore because I can get canceled. It's the reality we live in, and I have to adapt. And that's why I went on the Raw show. That's why I went on the Destiny show, to bring awareness around the potential of you coming out with a piece, taking things out of context, and and having the consequences of us getting shut down. We can't have that, and that's why I did what I did. It's a shame, but it is the reality we live in, and you're also fully aware of that. So yeah.
You've mentioned like that you're concerned about this piece being part of cancel culture, or that I'm trying to cancel you a number of times. What does that mean to you? What do you think? How do you define canceling?
When I saw the message you sent to, right, and when I saw also the message you sent to the brother of Reese with like the manipulation and all that stuff, and really trying to push that, that video of Katarina crying out of context, like it's obviously that we immediately knew what you were trying to do, and basically it's just like it would result in a lot of exposure to the point where it would even be able to be it could be on BBC. That's how crazy it is. Like the story of this cult guy abusing people, using crypto, whatever, and then you have the crying, and then you have people saying like, oh, I went to a psychiatry or whatever the fuck you would throw there. all out of context. I mean, like, that's fucking crazy. That's a serious, insane news item, even though all of it is bullshit, but it doesn't matter. It starts then, start snowballing. Like, Livestream Fail wouldn't be able to hold themselves in, so they would post it. And Twitch, the way Twitch works is, it's not about the truth. It's about advertisers. And when things start snowballing out of control, what happens is like, oh yeah, we gotta take action. And just like last time I got banned for literally, fake news, same would happen with you. And I also got banned on YouTube, and I got banned on Reddit. It was absolutely insane when it was all happening. I was invited to the United Nations, and I was raising so much money for charity, and I got just banned for false accusations. And now we have the pilot program in Uganda. Now we have the game. You know that's the reason why I also got partially banned, because I was scamming people, because people were...
I thought you just said you didn't have the pilot program in Uganda yet. It was still...
The pilot program is in its... it's running. The feasibility study is part of it. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, like the preparation. It's like, okay, it's not, the pilot program is in its stages of getting, what is it? Like, I would call the feasibility study part of the pilot program, because it's a study that comes before it. You can choose whether it's part of it or not part of it. It's just linguistics, but it's ongoing. We're working with Save the Children. They officially put it on their website. So like, yeah, it's like the claims that I made in the past, and with the game, that it was going to work with crypto and everything, and that it was going to be addictive, the claims that I made were true, but the way I presented them in a very funny and trolly way, and was taken out of context, and then also botted, like that thread on Livestream Fail was botted. It's also removed now. It doesn't even exist anymore. Like, these kind of things, it's very easy, and when we addressed it, our response got removed as well. Like, it lives its own life, and before you know it, bye-bye. And then what? What are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? It's just a reality. Like, it was a very big reality check for me. So when I saw then this message that you sent, I knew what was going on. It was actually it was very stressful. Reese was very stressed. And people here were in general just very stressed, because it's like, the fuck is his problem, man? It's bullshit. And then people contacting us even saying like, what is his problem? Like, there's people that you interviewed, and you even had a call with Ricardo at one point, all the way back. And when you heard he was still here, you didn't care even. He literally had to almost persuade you to have a talk. And then he talked to you, and it's like, not interested, no drama. Let's move on. And that's the entire thing. How many people did you talk to, honestly?
I don't know, with Ricardo, I think I spoke to him for about an hour on Skype.
Yes, and will you take his claims and put it in your piece? Like, my question is, how many people did you talk to so far that were here? Because quite some people contacted us. How many?
I think either like 7 or 8 people over the years.
What?
Maybe more than that, actually.
No, it's more than that. I think I could even name them myself, and it's more than that.
In terms of an actual interview with them.
But talking to them. Do you call D-Barks an interview?
Do I call what, sorry?
D-Barks. Guy on Twitch. Is that an interview to you or not?
No.
That's not, because it's only text?
No, I just, as in the person that I...
D-Barks is a guy that came over here and left, and had an interview with you with text. Do you take these into account?
I don't... What's the person's name? Sorry, I don't know what they're... you're talking about.
It's one of the guys you interviewed like 5 days
ago.
Do
you mean Daniel?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. That is someone I've spoken to.
So, man, you spoke to Daniel, to Albert, to Brian, to Tina, to Steve, to Ashley, to the brother of these are just the people on top of my head that contacted us. So everybody you talked to contacted us? That's fucking crazy.
I'm not gonna name the people that I spoke to, because
you don't have to name the people. You don't have to name the people that you spoke to. I'm just asking, how many people did you speak to? Because I just named everybody that I know of. So that's all the 7.
I actually don't even know how many people we've spoken to. Could I pick up something
wait,
you mentioned to do
of
with...
all these people, in Ricardo as well, that's 8. Of all these people, how many people said what you said there?
Said what?
The claims that you made, that you mailed. How many people?
Oh,
said
okay.
That I'm this
So
evil
I guess
guy?
there's, to give you an example of how this has worked. One of the people that I spoke to that wants to remain anonymous talked about how one of the projects that was worked on, by your group was an auto-playing poker bot that would play all day to grind money until eventually PokerStars became involved and the project was abandoned. So that would come from an anonymous source. But then I spoke to someone.
It comes from Domagoj. I know it comes from Domagoj.
Again, I don't know who that is. But that was backed up by Brian, who's someone that you've mentioned, who said. The reason we use these tools is because we had to fund the project. Abusing the mechanics of poker and how we could optimize things was how the place worked. The motivation and the intent of people there is, of course, to do good, and that can cause people to justify a lot of what people would say is questionable or gray area stuff. In my opinion, it was always up to the people themselves if they wanted to go into a little bit of a gray area. At some point, I had to stop because PokerStars. There was involvement from PokerStars who tried to crack down on this behavior. But in my opinion, it's not illegal. So that would be an example of me speaking to someone that was anonymous and then backing up with someone that, yes, did have a positive time, but had other things to say as well.
Well, that's like when it comes down to the poker stuff, right?
They also talked about the fact that, we heard that you had used Twitch bots for your streams.
That's bullshit. Who told you that?
So that was one. We had that from one anonymous source, but Brian also said they could not prove it. 1 second. Yes, I would say it was a grey area. Sometimes it was definitely outside people doing it. And I could say there were definitely people trying to hurt the project because we have a lot of haters.
Okay, so Brian is saying otherwise.
No, but he said sometimes it was definitely outside people doing it. I'm just wondering,
Go and check with Brian. We never fucking botted here. Are you crazy? That is Steve that is saying that. I want to bet money that it's Steve. And he's the guy that scammed us for $20,000. He would just like to see the place burn and makes these kind of accusations. You can't even say this shit. And it's an anonymous source. Tell me the source.
You had the people that come and work with you sign NDAs. In fact, I've got
so basically the NDA that you're going to accuse me for view botting. And
I'm not accusing you of view botting. I'm just saying that this is something that two of our sources have talked about.
One random guy that you talked to that accused me from view botting, and he likes to stay an anonymous source, and everybody else you talk to doesn't know what you're talking about.
Brian talked about, for example, with the poker bots that he's pretty upfront about that.
No, but
is that not something that you did?
No,
until
but I first want to talk
down?
about the view botting, and then I want to address that. Did anyone you talk to say that we do use view bots? Anyone? Except that anonymous source.
In relation to when I asked Brian about it, he said.
Can you ask Brian again and say, did they use view bots? Yes or no?
Can I ask you as well?
We didn't. We didn't at all. Are you crazy?
Okay, so how is that different to with the poker bot situation?
I first want to address one thing, because you're trying to throw two things at the same time to make it look like more suspicious. The view botting is a lie, and you know it as well. And you know what the guy did as well. You know that Steve scammed us for money. You know this. And yet still you're using him to discredit what we're doing. This is absolutely not done. It's like if you go check to other people, at least, get more people to come forward and say yeah, he used view bots, and show some evidence as well, please. I mean, if who did the view bots? Can you tell me who did the view bots? How did it even work? I would like to know. Can you actually investigate? If he says that I'm view botting, he would have had evidence all over the place. Show chat logs, show whatever the fuck. I mean, it would be easy to prove. This is just absolutely outrageous. Steve just wants to see this place burn down, and he doesn't care what kind of statements he makes. That's about the view botting part. So forget about that one. Now about the poker stuff.
Yep.
I already said earlier, right? 3 years ago, was it 3 years ago? Okay, yeah, around 3 years ago, we had, it was not like it is now. Now, when people come over, it's very streamlined. People work on the game and such. It's very, it's very organized and coordinated. 3 years ago, everybody had their own project. And there were several people that came to me and said oh, can we have our own poker project? And I said, you guys do whatever the fuck you want as long as you don't break the law. That's it. And they then, they started using tools that got themselves banned, but it wasn't even PokerStars. PokerStars has nothing to do with it. And I was also I was selling what happened. They said yeah, we use certain tools that we weren't allowed to use, and I was like, man, you got to be aware, you don't break any fucking laws, and I have nothing to do with this shit. You guys.
So it stopped because you put an end to it then, rather than because the poker company got involved.
But if you are using tools in order to automate or whatever the fuck, when it comes down to poker, you can go to whatever website, right?
Yeah, but I'm asking, like, so is the reason that project stopped
I
because
told them, like, when they came to me and said, like, hey, we got, shut down, and I looked into it, I said, like, you guys can't do this stuff. I mean, like,
so you had no idea that was happening until they got shut down?
I didn't know that they were working on the extent they were working on it. No, I didn't know.
So what extent did you know?
Well, I just knew that they were working on tools and trying to help them play poker and have a higher win rate. And I'd also know that...
So you didn't know that they were botting, like, multiple games at the same time or anything like that?
When it comes down to that, they said they were working on automation tools. And I just said, like, when it comes down to these things, just make sure you never break any law. And I want to have nothing to do with it. Because at the end of the day, I'm not the one coming and telling people what they can or can't do. And that's it. Like, so I would say, like, when it comes down to involvement, I wasn't involved at all. And I did know that they were working on certain tools, but I didn't know to what extent. I didn't know how it exactly worked and everything. Because when it comes down to poker, I'm a poker player myself. And back in the days, I used tools myself that I coded myself that allowed me to move tables and stuff. And I also know that for a very long time, they were playing themselves for very long times. And when it comes down to the actual poker stuff, every website has their own rules. There is websites that, allow more software or less software. They also, what is G2A? No, it's not G2A. There's a certain thing that is poker related that can show which hands are the best to play. I don't know what it is. Maybe people can say it in the chat. That some websites allow and other websites don't, and I don't know to which extent what they did and to which extent what was allowed and what wasn't allowed based on websites, because they were on several websites. And when I heard that they got shut down, because of course they came to me and they talked about it, I was like, man, you gotta stop this shit, because this is not okay. That's it.
Okay. And so now, with the way that the setup works within the group, is that it's more difficult for people to do a project like that would be potentially
I will actually tell
a problem.
I will tell you actually something really crazy, and it just goes to show how I'm not, like, I already said it before and I'm saying it, and I'm not the boss in this place. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people do shit here out of their own initiative, and they really fuck up like crazy. And then I hear about it afterwards. And the poker stuff was at a time where it was even worse, where it was a cacophony here. Like, everybody was running around doing their own shit. Like, it was literally like we had at the time even also 60 people, I think. And you had groups everywhere. Like, it was impossible for me to have a full overview. And when it comes down to even now, today, like yesterday I heard that a guy was trying to test a game and he was trying to use Facebook accounts. He couldn't get Facebook accounts, so he bought them. And I was like, what the fuck did you do? So like, yeah, I bought Facebook accounts. I thought it was okay. I was like, are you crazy? You can't do that. That's not allowed. And that's the thing. Like, that's the shit that happens when you have a lot of people, right, that are just working without someone telling them what to do. They can do really some stupid shit. And that's the thing. Like, am I responsible for what everybody here does in an independent way? Like, it's not all in my control, and that's
so. Who is responsible then for the actions of the group? It seems hard to pin that down.
Well, the thing is, like, when it comes down to that, the way it's same with torrenting, right? When people come over here, we clearly state you can't torrent because it's not allowed by German law. If people torrent in their own room, we don't just go and break in the door and say, hey, what are you doing? We don't have, privacy invasive tools, cameras or whatever, to avoid people fucking up. Like, people just, it's almost like a decentralized group of volunteers, that a co-working space, and everybody's responsible for their own actions. So that's how it is. Like, if people go around and do stupid shit or illegal or whatever the fuck, and we don't know what they're doing, then that's their own responsibility. The moment we do know, we address it, obviously, but it's impossible for us to have an overview in the way we work. It's not a corporate working place, not at all. The way the place works is very decentralized. And yeah, like who is responsible? People are responsible for their own actions. So yeah.
Okay. And my final question, something that we've sort of bumped into a few times while reporting on this, is that people that work or that volunteer with your group are asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement when
Which
they.
you can read, by the way.
Yeah. So when I first encountered this non-disclosure agreement, I guess this would be more than a year ago now. It included the following paragraph. One second. Oh, hang on. Yeah. So you agree not in any public communication of any kind or any communication with current or prospective collaborators, applicants, or supporters of any type of Gaming for Good to criticize, ridicule, make any derogatory or disparaging statement about Gaming for Good and its projects. That is the NDA that you used for.
And it's actually very light compared to what other companies give to their workers. But yeah.
But doesn't it stop people that volunteering with you from talking about things that they've experienced that might not have been positive?
So first of all, the reason why we have it there is because we want to avoid people spreading lies like what Steve did, saying that we viewbot even though it's not true. First of all, that's the main thing. We want to avoid people defaming us and causing damage to what we're doing.
Can't you do that without? Oh, sorry, Karen.
With people that have their own personal vendetta because, whatever reason. But when it comes down to the truth, right, I want the truth to be out. And that's the thing, like when it comes down to the truth, if we do stuff here that is just not acceptable, there is no fucking way that would fly. It doesn't work like that. If we would be, putting people into isolation chambers or whatever the fuck, that shit wouldn't fly, because this place is not like, a coordinated cult or whatever. Everybody is independent. Everybody comes over here as volunteers. People can just walk out whenever they want. It's a different structure. So if we do anything that would, cross the line, be damn sure it would be all over the place. Like, be damn sure if you would talk, like if you would even mention, there would 10 people, 20, 50 people out of these 300 would rise up and say like, man, this is what's going on. It would be uncontainable. And that's the thing, like when we have such, stuff like that, it's to avoid these, out of these 300 people, these singular ones that go try out with malintent, trying to, defame the place in a way that is just based on non-facts, on lies. And that is something that I'm highly aware of because it happens. I mean, like people can claim whatever. Like, what stops you from going outside and claiming whatever? I mean, you can make any claim, any lie, but if the facts, if there is no evidence, if you cannot even prove what you're saying, then, you deserve to be in trouble. I mean, if you go outside and say like, these guys are viewbotting, and then, it's on live stream fails and all that stuff, and then when you look into it, it's not true, and we have damages, then we are allowed to sue, obviously. I mean, like you cannot just go outside and start claiming if you go outside Google and you say like, these guys have isolation centers and you have a certain position there, right? Is there isolation centers and they do this and that and that. They plant people chips in this and that, and it goes on BBC, on CNN, whatever the fuck. And then, Google stock plummets or gets a hit, and it's all just not true. There is no evidence, it's lies. Then obviously Google can take action, right? I mean, you can't just go around and tell lies. And that's the thing, like if there's viewbotting or these other accusations were even mildly true, you would have out of these 300 people, you would have a ton of people standing up and coming out of it. And you wouldn't have, it wouldn't be me. It wouldn't just be me. It would be a conspiracy. It would be the place. Because right now you're talking to me. It would also be Reese. It would be also Ricardo. It would be all these people are coming together and, and basically almost conspiring together to do bad shit. Like seriously, man, that is just absurd. It doesn't work. Like that kind of structure just is completely, it's unrealistic. Like people come over here, if they see that kind of shit, man, be damn sure it would be already, you wouldn't even have to make your hit piece. It would already be on the news. So yeah, you would just have like some camera or whatever the fuck to expose what we're doing. I barely talk to people, man. So yeah.
But I'd suppose an example of that would be when someone leaves your group and post a live stream talking about psychological abuse and trauma because of you. Like, isn't that an example of what you're talking about? Like, that has happened.
But like, let me tell you something about that. First of all, because I find it actually quite fascinating, right? After this entire talk and all the context I've given you and all the answers I've given you, you're still holding on to like Athene is this little abuser because of this one video.
I haven't heard a fair explanation of what that meant.
I'm giving you an answer to your question. Because it boils down to your true intent, man. You don't give a shit about the truth. But either way, you boil down to that one video that, you know, she put, that if you see the full context, and we even responded to the full context, it was about, you know, she feeling, and it was miscommunication, by the way, she feeling like she got scammed by the crypto, even though it wasn't the case, because she got more money out of it, and we just, you know, refunded people. We forked people out that got their donation back, and she got like 10 times her donation back. So that's why she got forked out. But she misunderstood it. Wait. She misunderstood it, and she thought that I did it on purpose. And that's why she made that response, because she thought on top of that I was trying to get her banned. So you get to know where she feels all these emotions and feels like this outburst, and that's where it came from. And if you see the full VOD, you understand that's the case. And that's also something she knows. That's why she removed the VOD. That's why she also told you, please don't keep it bringing it up, because she knows the context, she understands it. But yet you don't care. She comes here, she tells it in your face. She said it also on the stream. She said it in your message, again on your message, but you don't care. You keep bringing it up because, oh, poor girl is getting abused by Athene. Right now, if you want to talk about emotional abuse, you score on the higher meter because you keep bringing it up, even though she clearly stated she doesn't want you to bring it up because it's taken out of context, bro. What you want me to tell you?
I still don't quite understand that context, but yeah, the psychological abuse.
I told you that, you know, she thought that I was punishing her for leaving by taking away her purpose. I would also feel like abused if that was the case. I would also go like, this is fucking proper emotional abuse. You take away my money while I leave, and I would have kept it if I would have stayed there. That's what I would think. So obviously I would make that, and you're trying now to also get my Twitch banned. Then obviously I would say I'm emotionally abused. In a rage, if I'm raging. But of course she understands the context now, and that's why she even addresses it. That's why she doesn't want it to be brought up. That's why she deleted the VOD. So there you got your context, but you know that context because I already messaged you that in a DM, but you don't care. You keep ramming on it because a girl crying, you know, gets you more clicks than any of the reason. But she told you very clearly not to use it. She also told you, and even her brother told you to fuck off, man. Her own brother, because you kept going after her after told you stop going after my family. You didn't care. You kept going. My brother told you, right, that his father passed away and that he's having a very difficult time and he will contact you. Didn't stop you from contacting him again. That's the kind of integrity you have. That's the kind of journalist you are. I'm sorry, man. Don't try to put the gun on me or pointing on me. Look into the mirror. You know your intent. And this is why I do all this stuff. It's to expose you, to expose your real intent. I've answered all your questions. And what do you have to stand on? This little video. You're abusing in the NDA, stopping her. Seems the NDA didn't stop her because she did the stream. What are you talking about? She still did it. So it's actually contradicting your statement. You're actually saying like the NDA is stopping them from saying that on the stream, but she still did it. Come on, man, seriously. That's the exact, you're making the point for me. So what are you gonna say? What's the next thing you wanna say, bro? Or is that the end?
I don't fully understand what you've described relates to months of trauma and emotional abuse, but I think that's perhaps not something that you're going to be able to.
She made it very clear to you. She made it very clear to you that she didn't want you to use it, and also myself, I also gave it proper context why she said it, and it's something she would gladly agree on. So
okay, I guess I would like to. Hear that agreement, I guess. But never, in the meantime, I just don't think that hearing you try and explain why that.
Okay, should I go get her? Should I go get her if she feels like it?
No, I don't know. I don't. It's not okay. It's not
the facts. You don't want to.
If I want to talk to, if wants to
talk
to us.
You think she wants to talk to you after what you did? Are you fucking crazy?
If she wants to talk to us, it wouldn't. I don't think this is the correct context to do it with.
Her coming and validating what I just said to make sure to show people what your true intent is. That's not good enough for you. You want to isolate her so you can take things out of context. I don't want her to come in here and just tell you like, yeah, Athene is right. Stop doing what you're doing.
I think doing that on your live stream whilst you're there is potentially not going to give the most unbiased response. And
so you think like I'm going to suppress her? You think, oh, she's vulnerable and you need to protect her? Is that what you're saying? She doesn't have the ability to make her claims herself? Is that what you're saying? That she's not capable?
I'd say this isn't the correct context to do that. No,
it's not
that's
the correct
quite
context. But you think it's the correct context to send that stuff to trying to manipulate whatever you hear to try and twist it?
Again,
I think earlier on,
I've already.
You know what? I'm actually gonna get her, man, because I think this is the place to say it, man.
I don't feel comfortable with that at all. I don't think that is the.
This is the truth. She doesn't feel comfortable you bringing her up all the time either. So I mean, at least you can show it the dignity, right? To actually listen to her part and say what I've been claiming here all the time, instead of going like yeah and talking lies. I'll be right back.
Okay.
We have a big place. I went to get her. Here she is. Oh, yeah. Hello. Well, you can just say what you wanted to say. Okay. Thank you for coming.
I completely respect that. And if sorry,
there you go.
Let me just finish. Sorry. It's if it does want to talk to us privately and not in this context, of course we'd be happy to do so. But
she doesn't want to have anything to do with you, as she said over and over again. You want to fucking be like a creepy stalker or something. She made it so clear. Where are you gonna go? Start contacting her parents too? It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable what you're doing. Can you actually have the ability to reflect on what you're doing? You're being so aggressive about how you go about all this stuff. And then I'm here super, like literally super transparent, addressing everything you say. And as an outsider, man, what are you still trying to do? Like, seriously, can you reflect on it? Can you use your cognitive perspective and look at it as an outsider? It's not cool what you're doing, man. What am I supposed to say? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you do what you do. But at least I do really think that this entire stream and everything we've done, which we're also going to make a nice edit about and put it on Reese's channel, not on my YouTube channel, because I don't even want to bother my subscribers, to give people a good view on what your intent is. Because, man, you can do so much damage. Put this energy in good. Man, your channel is great. Don't go this. I know it's very attractive to go into the hit piece, like, because these channels blow up, but man, you do good. Your Patreon is doing good. Like, don't try to, go into this more, I don't know, like bullshit tabloid journalism road. It doesn't suit you, man. It's not cool, but whatever. You do what you do. At the end of the day, I've done my part. I literally addressed all your questions, and everybody can see it, and everybody knows. Like can make their own judgment. So I'm glad this is out of the way, because like obviously for the claims you made and for the way you come across. Damn shit, son. You didn't have any meat on you, because there is nothing to there is nothing crazy about what we're doing. But hey, you might come over after the game comes out, and then you can you can also check it double. Unless you don't even, when do you want to come out with your piece, by the way?
We're not entirely sure yet. We need to finish reporting. I don't know what the time frame on it will be. We would be interested in coming to visit you after the game has launched.
The game can be like, we hopefully can come out this year, but we can't guarantee it. It depends. You know how production goes of games. Since you follow People Make Games, that's your channel. So you know sometimes there's shit that happens that takes longer. So we try for aiming before Christmas, but we can't guarantee it. So like if you want to come out with your piece next month or in Christmas, your Christmas special, because extra views, I don't fucking know, then yeah, I cannot guarantee you'd be able to make it here in a way that you could do a true investigation, because that's what you called it, right? Investigation. So yeah, I don't know, man. You can see. Yeah, I would like to just know, because it would be nice to know when your video is when you plan to put your video up.
Yeah, we're not sure yet. We're gonna have to look at what we've got, and we would definitely be interested in visiting once you have published the game. If that is still.
Are you planning to come out with your hit piece before the visiting or after?
You keep calling what we're doing a hit piece. I feel like, as this stream has shown, I have arrived with things that you have said and questions based on those things. I think
it's very funny that you're trying to talk yourself out of, because when it comes down to hit piece or portraying it as a hit piece, I think the one that contributed the most to this narrative is just, your intent and the way you come across this entire stream. But hey, just tell me that it's me calling it a hit piece. But my question is, are you planning to come out with it before you visited or after?
I'm not sure as of yet. We're going to be looking at what we've got.
So you might come out with it even before visiting it. That's fine. It's good to know. But yeah, then again, if you don't care about facts and the truth, then you might as well go with super sensation. If you come over here and you see that it's all bullshit anyway, maybe better off not getting confronted with reality, right? To sunken fallacy, make sure.
We would like to take you up on that offer at some point.
Yeah, but you might come out with your hit piece before you came over. That's actually quite funny to say that. Whatever.
I feel like we're going slightly in circles here. Thank you for your time.
I don't think this is circles either way.
Thanks for your time, and we'll be in touch soon.
Oh yeah, peace out, man. Peace out.
Okay, goodbye.
Yo.